is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
It would be good if we turn it on, right? That would always help, as always. It's always good. It's nice to get a message from Hateful Steve in the morning. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, good morning, one and all out there. Hope you all are doing well. Sean Stanley, of course, the man, the myth, the legend that masters this entire platform. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. What do we got going on today? We got a couple things going on today. Again, it's kind of, these are the doldrums right now, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it is. It's not like there's any real hot button topics going on in sports. And, you know, the Heat and the Panther season are just ending on a whimper. They're not really going to make any kind of an impact in the playoffs. So we're just kind of awaiting the end of the season for them. And so it's really about, I guess, getting ready for the draft. I would imagine that's about it. I don't know what else is there, you know, to really look forward to, you know, outside of anything. I mean, tonight, Heat and Pistons. I'm going to watch, of course, and I'll watch Sabres and Panthers tonight, but it's not like I'm sitting there going, oh, man, I can't wait for the playoffs and see what they do in the playoffs because, hell, one of them may not even make the damn playoffs when it's all said and done. Really tough finish here for the Panthers. With the Penguins and everything else. I just don't, hell, I don't even think they're going to end up making the playoffs when it's all said and done. But we will get through it. Cameron Wolfe will join us at 10:30. We'll have a little fun with him. We'll talk to Manny Navarro at 11:30. We are going to start today with Marcel Louis-Jacques, but Marcel actually had a delay in his flight. So we had to push it back for tomorrow. So tomorrow, Marcel Louis-Jacques will return to the platform. So you will get your Dolphin reports twice a week with Marcel here on the program. And we thank the great people at Welt and Rayom, of course, the fantastic law firm here in South Florida, taking care of some of you out there already, not just us, but some of you out there at Welt and Rayom in Hollywood. They are the proud sponsors of the Marcel Louis Jacques segment. So it's actually a good thing. So I like that. So we'll get Marcel back tomorrow on the program. Brian Walters is telling me, Big O, I just checked at 9:45 and Bitcoin's at 28,300. We rolling, me and my woman, he says. Well, we're rolling. And Ethereum is actually making a little bit of a move right now. A little bit. It's pumping a little bit. Let's see if it starts to, like, Ethereum has gone up gradually, but it hasn't really taken off yet. And that's one that is also, on the brink of possibly taking off, Ethereum. But I am looking forward to that next Bitcoin pump. It's about to happen because it's found a floor here, in at the 28 range, and it's been at it now for almost 2 weeks now. And that's really a good thing that it's kind of foul. It's good for it to go up and find a plateau and find a floor and then go up again and find another floor. And that's kind of what it's doing. You don't want a straight parabolic shot because that only ends up, in a bad area, put it that way. What did keep pumping, for those of you that went with me on it, was Injective Protocol. Just continues to pump, dude. From when I told you guys about Injective Protocol around 170, it is at like 5 something right now. Where's Injective Protocol right now? Let me see. This morning, I have not checked, but that one has been just pumping, dude. 543. And it was at 170 a couple months back. So it has just absolutely skyrocketed, man. I'm telling you, it's pretty impressive what's gone on also with Injective Protocol. Anyway, so we'll get into some crypto along the way, as we always do. So if you do have any questions, you can always send them in. Let me see. What do we got on the chat board? Jamie Zorria, I see is first from San Jose. Yeah. Make sure I'm, yep, exactly. What else? And he, of course, reminds everybody to smash the like button. Please always smash the like button whenever you're downloading the podcast, watching a video, every time. Any chance you get, podcast, videos, hit that like button, get that algorithm going. It's very, very important. Steve Chapman, I see, is in there. Lenny Pena is in. Brian Walters, we talked about. What else? True Finn fan. He's got a vacation day, he says. Good for him. Kyle Cockrell is in. Omar Lopez, Nizzle, Too Extreme, Lewis Bryant, Dominic, Hunter Butler, Jason G. Willie is in. May the universe bless you this morning. Thank you, Willie. That's very kind of you. Terry Lynch is in. Giovanni is in. True Fin Fan saying 25 people, 3 likes. So what do we got now? We got 80. How many likes right now? How many likes do we have? Let's see. Let me see. What do we got there? Turn it up, man. Turn up the likes. What else do we have? Randy Gonzalez and Knight in. Polly King, how you doing, Big O? I'm about to take off from Fallas to San Francisco. What is Fallas? Or you mean Dallas? To San Francisco with my Dolphins gear. I can LOL smash that like button. Thank you, Polly King, smashing that like button. 2 a time says he favored by 12.5 over Pistons. Very dangerous. We'll get into that one. Frankie Fresco with the first super chat. I saw that. I was going to mention it to Sean that you guys lost a wrestler. Although he lived a good life. 78 is pretty good, bro. Right? For Butch, for Bushwhacker Butch. You think about this. If you wrestled for a living and you made it to 78, bro, that's right, Sean? It's not just making it to 78, but you put your ass through wrestling and then made it to 78. Right?
Yeah, and most people honestly only know Bushwhacker, Butch and Luke. They don't know the sheep herder boot, back in the day, they did hardcore before hardcore was hardcore. They were getting hit with chairs. They were bleeding every night. And then they ended up going the route that they got in WWE as the Bushwhackers, and everything kind of settled down for them, and they became more of a, national draw. But before that, they were called the sheep herders, and they used to just come in, and it was blood and chairs and everything before any of that was even cool. And so, yeah, I mean, for everything, like I said, everybody remembers the Bushwhackers and, hey, and then bringing the arms up and down and all that stuff. But for what they did before that, yeah, I think the Bushwhackers helped extend their career and make them a national thing. But yeah, it was
old time wrestlers, bro. I mean, man, they put their bodies through freaking hell.
And a lot of them, I don't know about them necessarily, but a lot of the guys lived a hard life in those days, because you wrestled, you partied, you went to the next down, and you did it all over again. So, not saying they were those. I haven't heard a lot about those two doing that, but I'm sure they had some involvement somewhere down the line.
Crazy shit, dude. Crazy shit. Gus 1388 is in the house. Giovanni is in. True Fin Fan says, "We have you, never dull," on a super chat. Thank you. Thank you, True Fin Fan. Very kind of you, sir. GP Trap is in. GM Big O is, or MM is in. He says, GM Big O, what do you think about XRP ceiling is? I don't know. I don't know what to predict with XRP. There's going to be some kind of, volatility, and I mean in a good way. Once they overcome the lawsuit, but I don't know how much is real and how much is Memorex with XRP. How many banks really will use them? How many are going to end up using Stellar and some other ones that are competing with XRP for the same type of services that they provide? So I don't know how much of the hype is actually going to be met by the real expectations of what's going to happen. So I don't know. But I will tell you this. If you got it cheap down here in the 30s and the 40-cent range and maybe even 50, you're going to make some money. If you got it over $1, I don't know how much you're going to make. I'm not exactly sure, because I don't know how much this pump is going to be. They make it sound like it's going to be a $20 pump. And I just don't know, man. I just don't know. It's really hard. And by the way, banks are dying. So, it's going to be less banks and less banks as time goes on. So I'd love to tell you what I think the ceiling is, but there's so much unknown with XRP, and it's really hard for me to put a finger on it. What else do we have in here? Carrillo, Randy Garcia, Nyborg in. Anthony Campbell says, Big O, never been to the NBA Hall of Fame, but I feel this is the year to do it. And you say you did. No, I have never done it. I've never been to the NBA Hall of Fame. I've been to the baseball and I've been to the football Hall of Fame, never to the hockey and basketball Hall of Fame. I've not been there. You think it will be a good time or a waste of time to travel? I think it'll be a great, dude. If Wade is, are you going for the Wade induction? Hell yeah, it's worth it, bro. Are you kidding me? Yes, go, man. Go experience that. Hell yeah. Good for you, man. Hunter Butler says, oh, if you invested in Bitcoin at 0, would you even be doing radio right now? It's a good question. Maybe. Maybe not like as religious as I do it now. I won't have to. But I probably would do it. Yeah, I could see myself having some fun and still doing it. There'd be no pressure whatsoever, right? Because I don't have to worry about providing for my family, right? So that would be nice. Let's see. TJG is in, Big Dan in, Randy in. He says Dogecoin is pumping. Elon put that meme on Twitter. Yeah, he's the only one that keeps Doge alive. If not, Doge would be completely dead because it has zero use case. It's nothing. Dogecoin is crap, but it's got a great community. They're strong as hell, and Elon keeps it alive. If he can put some use to it, then maybe, but it's old technology. It can't be modernized. No, they're building nothing on it. Unlike SHIB, that actually is building real use case. DeFi, metaverse, blockchain, all of those things are adding to it. NFTs, everything. They're adding a lot of things. They're actually building out SHIB. So eventually, businesses will be able to build on their blockchain. And that's something that Doge is not doing and cannot do because it's really old technology. Johnny Rotten is in. Paul in Connecticut in the house celebrating his Huskies. They were clearly the class of the Final Four. Nobody was in their class. Nobody. GP Trap says, I'm number 32. Razzle Dazzle Crypto in. Big Dan 305 smashing that like button. I like it. Hugo in. Saludos from Colorado Springs. Steven Gonzalez, Jason Dow from stormy Indiana. Tornadoes last weekend, but calling for more tonight and tomorrow. Pray for us. Damn it, bro. Yeah, hang in there. Jesus. Terry Lynch. Stetson in. Frankie Fresco. Johnny Rotten, morning, Big O. Just started looking into crypto. Was just not sure where to start. Question. Does the fall of the American dollar affect crypto? Yeah, it affects it actually in an incredibly positive way. See, back in 2008, when we had the last crash, that's where Bitcoin came out of. Because Satoshi saw that our dollar is basically a Ponzi scheme, and we lose 6 to 8% of our value in our dollar every year. If you go back to I think it's 09 or 08 or 07 or something like that, what you bought for $1 then cost you $6.40 now. That's how much inflation has gone up. And so your dollar just dies and you buy less and less and less. That's why if you're in a savings account and they're giving you not even 1%, not even 0.5%, but inflation's at 5%, then what are you gaining? And if you're in a money market account and they're giving you 3 or 4%, but inflation's at 5%, what are you gaining? You're not your money's not growing at all. You think you're getting interest, but inflation is growing faster than the interest. And so that you try to explain to people this, and that's the part that they don't. The problem is that a lot of people don't invest, so they don't really understand. And, Steve Calabro, we had a conversation with him last Friday, and, you could tell he invests because the people that don't invest will tell you, well, Bitcoin was at 67,000. And it's like, well, you don't invest, right? Do you understand that something that skyrocketed from 8,000 basically to 67,000, do you expect it to maintain? Of course not. It's not supposed to, because that was just too much of a parabolic run. So that's why there was a retraction. That's why and then there was the pandemic, and then there was supply chain issues and a war and all kinds of things, and it affected every market in the world, including crypto. But if you look at it, it never went back to its lowest lows. If you look at macro and look at the entire history of it, it's this way the entire time. No matter what, the 67 has nothing to do with it. Because, people are saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to go back down to 10 or 8. It never went back down to 10 or 8. It went as low as 16.5. It was never going to go to 8 again. And guess what? On this next parabolic run, you'll never see 16.5 again. So if there's ever a contraction and whenever it comes back down, it might be in the 30s instead the next time around. It might be your floor. You know what I mean? And then that'll be you'll have higher highs. You'll pass 67, and your lows will be a lot higher than 16.5. It'll be 28 or 33 or 36. That will be the low the next time around, if it goes to that point. It all depends. But it's you try to explain to people that if something went from 0 to 28, then it's only going up. Don't get lost in 67. That's not realistic at that moment. And there's a theory out there that it only went to 67 at that moment because people thought a recession was coming. And then it didn't come, so they pulled their money back out again. So if a recession does come, you're going to see that pump even more. Because you lose money in the banking system. You don't make money in the banking system. Okay? All they're doing is taking out fees every month. All they're doing is taking out interest every single month. All they do is control who gets the money and who doesn't, as plenty of minorities find out when they are not allowed to get a loan and all of that, because that's why the Federal Reserve was created over 100 years ago by 6 families. It was created for the elite to be able to control the money in this country. That's what it's been. And the reason why they don't like Bitcoin, because they can't control it to control us. And then Bitcoin allows you to grow as powerful as you want to be. That's what decentralized financing is going to do for you. And that's the part that you will eventually learn. Okay, you will learn the freedom. You will learn to detach yourself from these banks, all these fees that bring us down. You'll be able to send money to a loved one or a friend within seconds from your wallet, instead of having to wire something through the bank locally, which then goes to an international bank, which then goes to their bank, and everybody takes a piece of the pie. And it takes a couple of days to wire money. Whereas in Bitcoin, it'll be done in seconds. $50 or $500 billion. Doesn't matter. Within seconds. You're going to be able to loan money out. You're going to become your own bank. Yeah, and you're the one gaining interest. Because, see, normally you put your money in the bank and it sits there in your checking account and it sits there in your savings account and you're not earning anything. And guess what they're doing with all your money? They're loaning it out at 8, 10, 12, 15, 20%. And they're making all that money and you're not getting any of it. But decentralized financing will make you the bank. Yeah. And so you're going to be able to be part of liquidity pools of lending and things like that, where you're going to be able to then use your money as leverage so you can then make more money with your own money, something that the banks are doing without you, without your consent. And then when all of you want to go get your money, they don't have it. Because that's the problem. That's the thing that people don't realize. If everybody went to go get their money, it would not be there. Because they're all over leveraged. They're all extended. They all are in incredible debt because they have mishandled your money. Pretty much every single bank in the world. And the same stupid shit we do here is the same stupid shit they do in Argentina and in Colombia and in Switzerland and in everywhere else, bro. It doesn't matter what color, what nationality, whatever. Every Federal Reserve pretty much in the world has done the same stupid shit we've been doing for 100 years. And that's why they're all in debt. And that's why every fiat currency in the world, including the dollar, will end up in zero, like it always does. And by the way, the currencies of the world last around 80 to 100, 115 years. And we're already at that point where the U.S. dollar has been the currency of the world for over 100 years. And we're about to fall off that perch. So, it's just one of those things. You have to kind of follow everything that's going on in the world. Not only how we mishandle money, but how everybody else is mishandling their money. And then how also people are viewing the U.S. dollar, which you have less and less countries that are going to be using the U.S. dollar as their main currency, which will then weaken our dollar. So we got problems. We got a lot of problems coming up with all of that. And, again, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch. This is not financial advice. I can only tell you what I'm doing, and I can only tell you what I feel is going to happen, just like I can tell you if the Heat or the Panthers are going to make the playoffs, or who they're going to draft, or do I like this player? Do I like that contract or not? It's the same exact thing. It's just an opinion. But I kind of figure where we're going already, and it's not a good place. If you stay stuck and tethered to the system, if you prepare yourself the other way for decentralized financing, your fall will not be nearly as hard as everybody else. That's just me. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Those of us that are tied a little bit more to Bitcoin, whenever this crash happens, it's not going to affect us nearly as much. It's going to empower us even more, is what's going to end up happening. So that's your answer, Johnny Rotten. There you go, my man. Greater Good is in the house. Dominic says, Big O, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in the Finns locker room? Oh, craziest thing I've ever seen in the Finns locker room. Shit. I wasn't there the moment that Gene Atkins hit Jason Cole and knocked him to the ground after Jason wrote an article about him being overpaid, which was completely accurate. I wasn't there. That would have taken the cake. Oh, I got it. And it includes Jason Cole. And it includes Armando Salguero. But it's not kind of, it's not the locker room per se, but it's kind of it's inside, let's just say. Okay. So, yeah. I got a weirder one. I've told this one before. Well, let me go with this one instead, actually. All right, so we are in training camp, and back in the day with Jimmy Johnson, one of the things I loved about covering Dolphins camp with Jimmy Johnson was we had access to the whole field. We could walk around everywhere. Okay, not on the field, but around it. We didn't have to stay in the bleachers or anything like. No. We could literally walk all the way around the field. If they were practicing all the way on the other end, and you know how sometimes you're in the bleachers and you have to look all the way across two fields to see them practicing, I could literally walk over there and stand right on the sideline right there and hear everything, see everything, and all that. Now, I can't necessarily talk about what they would say or anything like that. That's obviously, respect. But I can at least watch the practices and talk about them and all that, and who's playing well and who's not. And Jimmy's practices, you got to, back then they would hit a lot more. So you actually got a better feel for the teams, as I digress. So one day, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in town to scrimmage with the Dolphins for 3 days. So they've got a lift that's in the middle of the two fields, and that lift has a platform, and it gets elevated up in the air, and that's where the camera guy films both sides of the fields, right, with the camera. So it's in the middle, and then there are these two big orange cushions protecting this big machine from the players. So that way, if the players come running off the field and in a trying to tackle or running the sideline, they don't run into the steel. They run into that big, thick orange pad. That way, there's no injuries or anything like that. So they shelter that thing from the players by putting those two big orange pads there. I mean, these are giant orange pads, okay? Players come out, start stretching and all that kind of stuff. So I catch Warren Sapp. So Warren Sapp for a moment goes in between the two cushions, right? It's in the middle of the field. Fans are in the stands. They can't see because he went in between the two cushions. I'm standing on the sidelines there, so I can literally see him go in the cushions because I can see in between the cushions because I'm at that angle. The fans are on the other side of where they only see the flat of the cushion, so the guy disappears. Most of them probably didn't even realize that Sapp went in there. So Sapp goes in there, kneels down to pee. Okay? So he's turned from us, his back, and he's peeing, right? And so he gets up, right? And think about this. Your hands are all taped up. You've got these, tight ass pants on that you've got to lower down to pee or whatever. Come on, man. Those of us males, that's not going to necessarily be a clean session. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So he finishes peeing and he stands up, right? And he's, kind of like fixing his pants. And then he turns around to walk out of the cushions, right? So nobody saw it from the fans or anything like that, just us media members that are there. The exact second that he turns around to walk out of the pads and start walking kind of towards us, towards the end zone, Jimmy Johnson comes running out of the facility, out of the kitchen door, in other words, because that's where the kitchen was. The dining room was the middle of the old facility. And so he came right out and onto the field. And within 5 seconds of walking onto the field, he runs into Sapp and they shake hands. Enough said. Jimmy had no idea what Warren Sapp had done 15 seconds prior. Had no idea. Totally oblivious that he was shaking hands with a man that probably had some urine in those hands. Yes. So, now if it was Kevin Millar, he would have said, hey, this is great. It's awesome. Better back grip. For Jimmy Johnson, I don't know. And for those of you that don't know that joke, that inside joke, Kevin Millar, former Marlins player, Baltimore Oriole, a couple other teams I think he played with. But Kevin Millar used to use deer piss on his hands and the bat for grip purposes. So there you go. So there you go. That's one of my funny stories of in kind of locker room, not, but So Jimmy Johnson shaking the urinated hand of Warren Sapp. It was funny. So Dominic, I hope you enjoyed that one right there. Okay. Let's see. Randy Gonzalez in. Greater Good. Marcellus Temple. Brian Morgado. Big O looks like another lost season for the Marlins. Brian, it's the Marlins season. It's over before it started. I mean, that's the most demoralizing thing there is as a sports fan. You start something with no hope. Just think about that. I mean, last night, old ass Johnny Cueto on the mound, last an inning, gets blasted for 4 runs. You lose 11-1. It's a demoralizing start to the season. You're 1-4 right now. Yeah, you're 1-4 now. You went 1-3 against the Mets. You lost the first game against the Twins. The Twins are a hell of a team, and they're 3-0 to start this. Well, 4-0 now after yesterday. And you've got Johnny Cueto, 86-year-old Johnny Cueto on the mound, and he's old and fat. He looks like me, and he's not even in shape to last 1 inning for you. This is the kind of shit that happens when you got to cut corners. And I'm going to watch because I love the Marlins. But I'm watching that. And it's like, this is disgusting. This is 11-1. I didn't really care too much about the game last night, the UConn game. I had it on the side, but I didn't care. UM or FAU weren't in it. I completely lost, and plus I didn't really give San Diego State a chance against UConn. If Miami could not pull off the upset, I don't think anybody else was going to pull off an upset because UConn was too good. But I'm watching the Marlins, and it's like you realize the Marlins have now scored 9 runs through 5 games and have allowed 28 runs. They've got a run differential of minus 19 already, and we're only 5 games in. Johnny Cueto's sporting an ERA that matches his age, 36. It's just Kenta Maeda, right? Tonight, and Sandy Alcantara with the 4.76 ERA, by the way. Yeah, he didn't have a good outing that first one. Let's see if he can improve. But it sucks, man, because, I mean, I won't pay attention too much to the Marlins today. Sandy is pitching, so I'll find my way to kind of, because I'm really going to be looking at the Heat and the Panthers, tonight, because they're the ones that actually, I don't know, one of them might make the playoffs, the other one struggling to get in. Tough, man. Tough. But it sucks that the Marlins season is over before it started. How do you sell that to people? And then Bruce Sherman has the balls to, talk about his team like he actually spent enough money and that he's going to compete. And I'm no genius. And most of you aren't either. And you and I, with common sense, can say, we look up and down that lineup, say, where are you guys going to score enough runs? And you're already there. You've scored 9 runs in 5 games. You can't score 2 runs a game, dude. And the one game you scored 2 runs, that's the only win you have, that you won 2-1. It sucks, man. You have no shot to compete whatsoever. It's about watching a couple of individuals with the Marlins. That's all it is. What are you going to do, right? Anyway, Gordon Shumway is in. Knight says, Big O, do you think Berrios will be used as a slot receiver? I'm assuming as Ukam and Wilson are in front of him. I personally would save his body for returns, maybe a few plays each game. Yeah, I think he'll be used as a 5th wide receiver. Of course, in the slot, but I don't think he's going to be used a ton. I think he'll be used more as a returner than anything else. I think Ezukama and Wilson, if they can't unload him in the draft, I think those guys will be used in the slot a lot. But you have to use them. They're better receivers than Braxton Berrios. Braxton Berrios is here to be a returner more than anything else. He's your last receiver on the team, not your third best. So it's the other way around. He's a full-time returner, and it depends on how much they use him as a wide receiver. But I would imagine that it's going to be very little as a wide receiver. That'll be my early guess with Braxton Berrios. Strafasi, good morning. Offensive line to our first pick. Maybe. Jason Myers is in. George Gonzalez. Brent is in Toronto. Trump goes to jail today. Well, not jail. He just gets fingerprinted and photographed and all that good stuff. This is nothing, bro. This is minor league stuff that, the good stuff is coming. The insurrection and obviously the one rigging the election where there's 2 phone calls that are there. Those are the big time crimes. This is minor league. This is nothing. People making a big thing about this. This is just the start of the real charges coming. The Browns might have lost a wide receiver for the year, potential spot for Cedric Wilson. We'll see. What else you gonna do, Big O, says GP Trap. You can't do anything about it, my brother. Big O, if you can be reincarnated as a rock star, which rock star would you be? It's a very good one. But if I become that rock star, do I have to also inherit their person? Like, I wouldn't mind being David Lee Roth, but David Lee Roth is an asshole. You see what I'm saying? So he's kind of a jerk to people, but might have been one of the best front men ever. And you know that man had a blast doing his thing. So that part of my imagination, I'm running wild with that. But I don't want to be David Lee Roth, the person. See what I'm saying? Like Motley Crue, like being what's it called? The Vince Neil would be kind of cool, but I don't want to kill somebody like he did in a car when Hanoi Rocks, I think it was the drummer, I believe, that got killed in the car when he was drunk. See, I don't want to be that. So that's the thing. Like I want to, you know, I don't want to take the bad with the good. So I want to be more Bono then. Right? Because Bono's a good dude and he doesn't do those kind of crazy things and he's had an amazing life, right? But he hasn't been David Lee Roth for certain things. You know what I'm saying? Or Vince Neil. He's kind of been the married man his whole time. So it's kind of I got to get like, I want to be this person, but then I want to also have this part of that person and that part of this person, you know, that kind of deal. I want to have the longevity of Bono, right? The party of David Lee Roth and the athleticism of David Lee Roth on stage. You know what I'm saying? I need a mix like that. That's the thing. Because the guys you really want to be, they got in trouble with some stuff that, like, yeah, I kind of want to stay away from that, you know? Or you're a complete jerk like David Lee Roth is. So then it corners me, and I want to be, oh, you know what? Maybe Bruce Dickens. Well, he's kind of a jerk too, but at least he's not didn't get anybody killed or anything like that. It's tough, man. Tough. That's a tough one. That's a good question. It'll be a singer, guaranteed singer. All right, let's do it. Time unleash the Wolf Pack.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolfe. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolfe.
All right. Wow, I just got some good news. Clutch is coming to Revolution Live August 23rd. That is crazy to see Clutch at Revolution Live. Definitely going to
What's up, O? What's going on,
Good morning, my man. How you doing? You doing good?
I'm good, man. I am doing good. I am back from Cabo. I am back in the States. I'm in Houston for a day or two, seeing my my parents and my siblings, and then I'll be back in Florida. So the good news is that I made it back. I survived. The bad news is my body is now.
And you didn't get kidnapped.
That's what I mean. I made it back. I survived. You know, there's a lot of dangers. You go out there, you're taking a little bit of a risk. But I made it back all in one piece, you know. But my body still feels like I was in Cabo for 5 or 6 days.
Well, you always need a vacation from your vacation.
Right. Yes. So,
you know,
my body's trying to. I spent 5 or 6 days drinking more than I probably drank since college, and I feel every bit of it.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Disney with the family and then you come back and you're like, holy crap, what did I do? Run a marathon?
Right, exactly.
I am worn out, bro.
Right.
This was a vacation, man. Shit.
Right. Which is why I'm glad I have a buffer. Like if I would have came back yesterday. I got back from Cabo yesterday. I would have came back yesterday into Florida. I would have felt like I had to go immediately into work mode. I probably would have had to do TV the day I got back or the day after. And that's not what I needed. So I'm spending the last day or two of my vacation not doing anything. So,
That's a good thing, bro.
well, other than talking to you, Big O,
day.
I'll talk to you, Big O, and then the rest of my day will be hanging out with my daughter.
So that's much better than talking with me. So let me ask you something. Why do we have lazy media all over the place? Cedric Wilson has been needed to be traded from the second they acquired Tyreek Hill. Like, does anybody actually know what's going on here? Like, those of us like you and me and the fans that are actually like following this all the time, we knew Cedric Wilson was a luxury for a long, long time. It's just they couldn't unload him because of the salary cap. But it's like people all of a sudden, oh, the Dolphins are trying to move Cedric Wilson. Dude, the Dolphins have been dying to move Cedric Wilson. It's just they couldn't move him last year because the cap hit would be too brutal. So, of course, they would love to trade him, but it's not that easy to do something like that. And he's been on the trading block for a while if anybody would want him. I mean, it's like a whole bunch of these people from the outside have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, obviously he was an underwhelming free agency signing. That's the one way to put it. But I think you and I talked about this. The plan changed. They signed him with the thought that he was going to be the number 2/3 to Jalen Waddle. You needed a secondary receiver there. You got rid of Devontae Parker, and essentially he was going to replace Devontae Parker in that role. Say, hey, hopefully he's on the field more. We can do this for cheaper, blah, blah, blah. Then Tyreek Hill possibility pops up. And, you don't let your, what do they say? You don't let your girlfriend stop you from finding your wife, and so that happened. And so you went and got Tyreek Hill, but you already committed guaranteed money to Cedric Wilson. And so, yeah, from what I understand, he has been readily available for a good time. He still has some guarantees, notable guarantees left on his contract. And so it's still a position where if you're going to trade him, you're probably going to have to either swallow a little bit of his money or you're going to be in a situation where you're essentially giving up a higher pick to get back a lower pick type thing. You're giving up a 4th round pick to get back a 5th round pick just to get rid of his contract sort of thing. And so, the Dolphins have to weigh how much it's worth doing that just to get him off the roster and get his money, or just keep him and hope that he has a better year in that, true number 3 role, because they wanted him to be that guy. But honestly, there were times where Sherfield beat him out, and McDaniel played the better guy. Right. And the hope is this year Cedric Wilson will be the better guy, or if he does get beat out, it's by a youngster like Uzukama, who you want to be that guy long term.
If it's possible, when will it happen? During the draft?
Yeah, usually these things happen like so. Yeah, Cedric Wilson would be a day 3 pick type guy. I'd imagine if whatever the picks are exchanged is probably day 3 picks. So typically that happens draft weekend, the draft Saturday, where a team's sitting there on the clock. Let's say it's a 5th round pick, and a team's like, hey, we can get Cedric Wilson, do a pick swap here with the Dolphins and get a guy that we want. Maybe they call the Dolphins up and say, let's do the deal. I mean, I'm sure the conversations have been had, but it doesn't really make sense to do it until you're on the board and know what you're going to get. I think back at either in Indy or the owners' meetings, Dallas had mentioned something about, hey, one of our mistakes was letting Cedric Wilson go. Everybody's like, well, trade for him. Dolphins fans are like, well, trade for him. But they also know that Cedric Wilson's value isn't very high right now. So they could be saying, hey, we want to go get Cedric Wilson, but we're not going to give much up. So we'll just wait until day 3 of the draft and figure it out then. So that could be a team. There could be another team here. But the other part of that, and although Cedric hasn't been that player there, the Dolphins still would like the depth that he or whoever provides at receiver. And so if you don't have Cedric, then you're going to have a situation where you're counting on Uzukama to be that guy and Braxton Berrios. Hey, Layla. And Braxton Berrios to be that guy. And I think they like to have another guy in that room. And so that brings up another conversation. Do you need to sign another guy if you trade him, or do you need to draft a guy on day 3?
You like the move of Durham Smythe? I think you got a solid football player. Might as well keep him locked, reasonable price over the next couple of years. I thought it was a positive move. Your thoughts on Durham Smythe getting extended?
Layla, what do you think about Durham Smythe getting extended? I think that, they've liked Durham from the jump. They extended him last offseason. I don't remember the last time you got 2 extensions and back-to-back off seasons. But obviously he's not super expensive. He's a guy who, came up as a blocking tight end. But now, I know everybody's penciling in them for a tight end in the draft, and they may still go that way. But if they open the season today, Durham Smythe would be their number 1 tight end. And so clearly they're showing you what they value at that position. They value a guy who can stay on the field for 70, 80% of the snaps, because you don't know if he's out there as a receiver or a blocker. And so, like I said, he didn't cost much, but clearly he's a guy that, and it's always interesting when you extend guys who aren't your coach's quote unquote guys. Like McDaniel wasn't here when Durham Smythe was drafted. And so he clearly got another coach's or another regime's guy and still loved him and has decided, hey, he's worth us continuing to build on. So,
he's the perfect number 2.
He is. But like I said, the fact that they are signing him again makes me believe that if they are maybe not as panicked as we are, if they got into a situation and the draft board didn't fall the way they want, they seem willing to roll into next season with Durham Smythe as their number 1.
And then the other guys as their projects, obviously, because they've got their project guy.
You got Tanner Connor. You got a Tanner Connor. You got Eric Saubert, who they want to see more of and use more of as a receiver. He's been more of a blocking guy there. So you've got those type guys. And like we said, this is a deep tight end class. So everybody would love to get a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round. But if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, maybe you get a guy in the 6th or 7th round and say, hey, we'll add him to that room, let them all compete, and, it'll flow out how it's supposed to flow out in camp.
Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Who do you think should be number 1?
Oh, that's a very good question.
I'm a Stroud guy.
So I really like CJ Stroud. But the way I go about it, and this is probably why I'm not a GM, if I'm going to swing for a number 1 pick, I'm going to swing. And to me, CJ has a higher floor because of his size, because of his ability. But I think Bryce may have a higher ceiling. That's my view. I do. I think that CJ, though, there's not a lot of knocks against CJ. CJ's a pretty clean prospect. He's got the size. He's got the accuracy. His accuracy was amazing. But he was in a scheme in Ohio State where you have a myriad of pro receivers. You have a scheme that's ready for you. And so if he goes to a team like a Houston, like a Carolina, a lot of those teams are devoid of weapons. How is he going to be as a player there? And so the question I've heard from scouts is, if you're taking CJ Stroud and he never becomes a top 5 quarterback, if he tops out at somewhere in the end of the bottom top 10 to top 15 range, are you okay with that? Because the scout I was talking to, he projected CJ Stroud at his peak to be somewhere at the back end of a top 10 into the top 15 of a quarterback. So maybe never a guy that's competing for an MVP. Maybe he may get a couple Pro Bowls or 2, but that's his trajectory.
Well, you can win a championship with a top 15.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no missing there. Like, there is missing, but it seemed to me from this scout's perspective that he felt like CJ Stroud could not miss, whereas Bryce, because of his size, could certainly miss, but you could have a guy like Bryce who could be a top 3 quarterback if everything rolls out for him. And so for me, I would probably take the bigger swing. But it's tougher because I don't have a job on the line. GM has a job on the line, and it's a lot easier to sell to your owner, sell to everybody who's paying the bills, your president, everything, that I've got a 6'3", 215-pound quarterback, accurate, precision. We're going to have this guy who's going to be a starter for 10 years. You don't have to worry about him. A lot easier for me to sleep at night than to say I've got a 5'10" quarterback, 200 pounds, maybe soaking wet. And it's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's an elite guy, but we're going to have to hopefully keep him healthy.
The Dalvin Cook story, is there any truth to it? Because they did bring back all 4 of their running backs. So I'm just wondering, because people are still writing about it. And I know they don't have a lot of draft capital. So I'm not sure how, and I know that they got to wait till June to open up a little bit more cap space so they can finish out the Wilkins deal and the Sealer deal and sign their draft picks too on top of all of that. So there are some limitations. What should we believe or not believe about the Dalvin Cook stuff?
So what I can tell you from my reporting, they did have conversations about Dalvin Cook earlier in the offseason. That is something that I've heard from multiple people, and they decided at that time to move forward and not go that route. So why it's coming up now, I think it's a myriad of things. One, Dalvin Cook is from this area. And like many guys from this area, he would like to play in this area. And so I'm sure someone in his team, someone in his camp has mentioned, or he's mentioned to them this offseason, oh man, I would love to play with the Dolphins. That's why some of this stuff comes out. The second part is the running back market is very, very soft. And so you've got a guy like Dalvin Cook making top end running back salary when nobody is making top end running back salary this offseason getting paid that way. And so teams are reevaluating.
And where Chris Greer doesn't pay top running back salary for anybody.
Exactly. So teams are evaluating, hey, is it worth me paying my current star running back $15 million a year? Or can I muscle them a little bit? Like Aaron Jones, for example, really good running back for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers got him to take a $6 million pay cut earlier this offseason from $17 million to $11 million. Because they looked around and they said, only Christian McCaffrey's making $17 million. If you're not going to take you're not going to take a pay cut, we're going to cut you. And you'll take your chances in the market. And Aaron Jones is like, I'll take the pay cut. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota
going, Aaron, take the cut, bro. Take the cut.
Right.
We're all going to take bigger cuts later on then.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota eventually tries to, maybe not as deep of a cut, but maybe ask Dalvin to do the same thing. Guys don't take lightly to taking pay cuts. And I think that there are some teams out there who are probably still waiting to see if the Vikings will either give him away or release him. And if something like that happens, then maybe Miami would get back in the mix. But as of now, I think they are telling the truth that they feel good about their backfield, bringing back the crew that they did. And I think that, the most likely addition is some late round running back in the draft or as an undrafted free agent and compete with those guys.
Good stuff. What do you got going on this week? Anything on the NFL Network?
So I will get back. My vacation ends on Wednesday. And so Thursday or Friday, I'll probably be back on TV. And I'll tell you guys this, I haven't put it out publicly, but for Big O Show viewers, you guys get special nuggets. I will be back next week to Good Morning Football and doing a day of Good Morning Football at hosting again on set there in New York. So I'm heading up there Thursday to do Friday of next week. And so I'm sure, because I'm a Florida guy, I will talk some Dolphins on Good Morning Football.
Ask Peter Schrager for me something.
Yeah.
He's a Dolphins fan, right?
I don't know. Is he? Maybe. I don't know.
Watching him over the years there, he's usually pretty positive about the Dolphins.
I do know he has a.
It just seems like his heart has a little bit tied to the Alquin Orange. I'm just saying, just a little bit.
Maybe so.
Ask him what's his favorite team.
Okay.
Because are you one of those stuffy ass media members I can't have a favorite team. I have to be Mr. Objective.
Yeah. So I used to be very.
You can't be Mr. Mrs. Objective and have a favorite team.
Right.
Give me a freaking break.
I think I actually may be in Peter's chair the day that I'm up there, so he may not be there. Actually, he may be out that day, but he could very well be that way. We all cover sports because we are fans at some point. And so I used to be
but at least you know what? At least you're freaking honest, bro.
Right.
I hate these people like, no, I'm not no, I'm objective. I don't have a favor. I'm like, come on, bro. You got into this business because you had a passion for sport.
Exactly.
It's kind of what it most of us.
Right. But the whole thing,
I
the
did meet a
journalism.
writer once. He's no longer with us. He wrote for the Herald for a long time. And this dude was the most biggest sourpuss I've ever seen in my life. Like, we would be waiting for 45 minutes to get into the locker room, and he'd be complaining. And inside my head, I'd be like, hey, asshole, you're covering sports. What are you complaining about, bro? There are people laying asphalt. There are people there are cops laying their lives on the line. There's a lot of people doing a lot of shitty jobs, and your job is to go in there and ask the quarterback a question. Really? Yep. Is that what you're going to complain about, dude? Like this guy hated covering sports, and it drove me crazy. Really, because I think we're all blessed. I really do.
Sports should be fun, man. Sports should be fun.
So at least you admit that you've got a favorite team, and you can be a fan, because you can be objective anyways at the same time, bro. It's not gonna. It should actually. It's better that way. It's more impressive that way if you can actually be objective and still be a fan too at the same time.
Right. I do know as time goes on, you root more for stories and players than teams.
Yes,
That's just part of how the industry goes. But I've told you guys this before. I grew up South Jersey, Philly, and so all my roots come from there. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, all those come from those roots. And so early on, you are taught in sort of journalism school, don't be biased towards a particular team. But I think as you get further and further in the industry, opinions become more welcome, and fans want to see the real version of you, not just kind of some stickler kind of version. So I think that'll evolve more and more over time, where that becomes less of a thing. You can't be honest with who you're a fan of.
Well, just if you get a chance, ask Peter Schrager. I'd like to have him on the show one day, because I don't know him personally.
Yeah,
but I do love his work. But I just get the feeling that he's a Dolphin fan. I don't know why.
Could be. I'll ask him. All
right. Good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Cam, we'll catch up later on in the week, my friend. Appreciate you. Safe travels.
All right, sounds good. All right, man.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe, baby. KSDTCPA. Whip out the QR code there, Sean. So we are headed into tax season, folks. Your business, personal taxes, support the great people at Support Platform. That keeps us going. So hit that QR code right there. You need to do your taxes this year. Reach out to the great people at KSDT CPAs. They've got offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. So you can call them. Hell, you may not even have to go into the office or anything like that. You could probably do almost everything by the phone. So check it out. Hit that QR code. KSDT CPAs, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. The Wolf Pack has been unleashed.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolfe. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
That's a ride. MM says, we did talk about Dalvin Cook. V2 says, why are we prioritizing tight end if McDaniel to a barely used tight ends? Yeah, V2, I don't think you really picked up on everything that's going on, my brother. What you saw last year is not really what it's supposed to be. They're going to use the tight end a lot more. The problem is they didn't have the tight end that they wanted to use. So they didn't call the kind of plays that they normally would for a tight end. And that's really the problem, my friend. Nothing more than that. Once they get their playmaking tight end, he'll become a bigger part of it. And then here's the other thing. Once you find that balance for your running back and your running game, the running game will be used more than it was last year too. And I expect McDaniel to stick to the running game even more than he did last year, because he screwed up at times going away from it. But hopefully if you can make it a better offensive line, you'll make it a better running game, and you'll count on that. So expect, okay, the tight end, and the running game to become a bigger part of the offense. That's how Miami's offense is going to take it to the next level. Be more explosive and be more dominant and chew up more time on the clock is using that running game and that tight end. Frankie, no, I would never give a third rounder for Dalvin Cook. No. Way too high of a pick. They're dying to get rid of him or unload the salary because they're in the middle of turning over that roster. So you give up a lot less. I know he's a good player, but he's also injury prone, by the way. Let's not forget that about Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has missed a lot of time with injuries. He's done a nice job, I think, the last year and a half staying healthy, but he's had a lot of injuries in his career. Randy says, just take a chance on a running back later in the draft. Gems have been found in the later rounds. Yes, they have. Let's see. Geez, poor Cam can't get a word. Oh, well, Jason, you don't have to tune in, bro. You can go somewhere else, bro. I'm not holding a gun to your head. If anything gives them the third and Vikes pay half of his contract, Dolphins take the remaining amount. That could be a part of the mix. Leo T, I don't remember where I read it, but I recall reading Schrager's son's favorite team is the Dolphins, and that's why he has a soft spot for them. I think he's a Dolphins fan. Not just, why did his kid become a Dolphins fan? Okay, if you say his kid's a Dolphins fan, I'm not sure. I don't know about that. I'm just reading the tea leaves. Okay, I'm just watching Peter Schrager for the last couple of years on the NFL Network and talking Dolphins. And it didn't matter if it was Adam Gase or until now, there's always like this positive vibe that comes from him with the Dolphins. I don't know if any of you have noticed it with Peter Schrager, but at least that's what I think I've noticed. I might be completely wrong on this, but I just kind of get the feeling that deep down inside, the Alcuin Orange is his favorite team. That's just me. If any of you gotten the same feeling from Peter Schrager, you can tell me. But for me personally, it just seems like he's a Dolphins fan. Let's see. JC, I will trust the direction of this team when they win a playoff game for the first time in 23 years. Otherwise, I cannot have blind faith. I see numerous holes in this plan to build this team. Oh, I see. So you will then get on the bandwagon after the fact. I got you. Well, I mean, is it really that hard after they start winning in the playoffs? Now I'm convinced. Yeah. JC, you're really going out on a limb there, brother. Way to go, man. Way to go out on a limb there. Some of the people are saying you should reincarnate as Elvis. Well, I am a fat ass, so give me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Fat Elvis, right? That wouldn't be bad. John Padilla, Kid Rock, nah. Big O, do you think Ronnie Lippett would lock Clayton down back in the draft? No, nobody's going to lock Clayton down. Nobody. Not Darrelle Revis. Nobody is locking Mark Clayton down. You want to go one-on-one with Mark Clayton, you're going to lose 9 out of 10 times. If you're a great corner, you'll win 1 out of 10. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. JC, that literally makes you a bandwagon fan. Yeah, listen, how about this? How about this, JC and everybody else? Those of you that have been following our show for a long time now, Okay. Not just the last, couple years here with Chris Greer. If you followed me before that, for like the last 20, when was I on board? Like never. Never. The one time that, actually 2 times, they actually made the playoffs. I didn't say I believed in the whole program going forward and all of that, but I'm standing next to Omar. Obviously, Omar would never remember this because he doesn't remember what happened last month. But I'm standing next to Omar, first practice of Chad Pennington. First practice. We're in the bubble. Okay, first practice for Chad Pennington was in the bubble because we had rain. So I'm standing on sidelines there next to Omar. And on the first play of the first practice, Chad Pennington drops back and throws a 35-yard bomb downfield, right? And it hits Ted Ginn on the helmet. Ted Ginn literally was 10 feet away from us when it hit him on the helmet because we were about 35 yards downfield, down the sidelines, when Pennington threw it. A perfect pass. But Ted Ginn at that time was still kind of finding his way as a wide receiver. He wasn't really a polished wide receiver yet or anything like that. He was always a good returner. That he was always from the get-go. But as a receiver, he got better as the years went on and had a really good career overall. He never justified his draft pick, but that's not his fault that he got picked number 9. That's Randy Mueller and Cam Cameron. That's their fault that they picked him at number 9. So he hits him on the head. I turned to Omar. I said, they found their quarterback. Don't make the playoffs. And they made the playoffs. The other time was I'm watching practice and Jamie Nails and company are running all over the defense. And I got on the air that month and I told all the Dolphin fans they will have a running game this year and they will make the playoffs. And they did both. But not that I've ever really, those of you that have listened for a long time, I never bought any of the shit that was going on here for 20 years. I haven't. No, nothing. Never bought any of the shit going on here for 20 years. I buy this. I'm all in on this since Chris Greer took over and became the guy. Okay? I'm all in. This, I am convinced that the Dolphins are headed in the right direction. I am convinced the Dolphins have one of the best front offices in the NFL. Okay? And I really like Mike McDaniel. I might be pissed with him about some of the decisions he made in game day last year, but those are all super correctable. And he can fix them, and he gave me even more of a lift when he admitted that he screwed up, in the running game, that he should have stuck with the running game a little bit more last year at times. And I'm expecting him to do that this year. And that's where I would say to that other guy that said, oh, why are we looking at tight ends? The running game and the tight ends will be a bigger part of this offense. Mike McDaniel wants it to be a bigger part of the offense. He just didn't have enough trust in the running game and certainly had no trust in the tight ends. He thought, in his eyes, he has a good backup tight end in Durham Smythe. He doesn't have a legit number 1. That's what he told me last year. In his eyes, he doesn't have a legit number 1. So he's got to find a legit number 1 to go with his legit number 2. I'm buying. And I have not bought into the Dolphins. No matter what. I mean, I love the Dolphins and root for them and watch them, but I ain't buying any of that. The last couple of years here, I'm convinced that this is a team headed in the right direction. They got a front office. They found their coach. They found their quarterback. They have all the combination that you need now to win. You got your franchise QB. I'm pretty sure you got the right head coach now. And I know you got the right front office. I'm all in. Something I've never been with the Dolphins in a long, long ass time. All in, baby. J-Town says, I'm all in too, just like I am with crypto, baby. Nice. Big O, you can reincarnate as Tim Ruddy, the center, as I digress. Giovanni says, thumbs up to you, sir, whoever he's thumbs upping to. A Big O, better returner, Jakeem Grant or Ted Ginn Jr.? Got to go with Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn did everything. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn did everything. Yeah, no, I'm going Ted Ginn all the way. Brother, I still have the memory of Ted Ginn all by himself beating the New York Jets. Anybody remember that? My man beat Darrelle Revis for a touchdown as a wide receiver and then also had a return for a touchdown. He was the entire difference in the game, period. So I'm going to go Ted Ginn for a career. You know, as a returner for the Dolphins, probably Jakeem Grant. But as a overall, no, you got to go Ted Ginn, bro. Ted Ginn has had a much better career because he turned into a better receiver than Jakeem Grant. He turned into a solid receiver. And by the way, we all made fun of him for running out of bounds, but that's probably, he did the smart thing, extending his career. Not taking on hits for no reason at all. He probably saved himself from a couple of injuries and maybe played a little extra time just because he did that. Meanwhile, we were making fun of him for that. But that was probably the smart thing on his part. Let's see. Knight, you know Big O, he will get upset quickly. LOL. What happened with that? Knight, Frankie, please tell me you're okay. If he does not run the football in the first game of the season, Big O will not believe in Mike McDaniel moving forward. I wouldn't say that, but he's got to run the football. It all depends. Was the opportunity there, like in the Green Bay and the Buffalo games, that you're like gouging them, and then I'll get pissed. But if you're running into a wall because the team you're playing is really good and they're struggling, well, then you got to pass to kind of open up the run a little bit. So it all depends. You gotta put it into context. That's the important part. You need context. That's how you kind of explain what you're doing. If I recall, Tim Ruddy was a really smart guy. Yes, and a really good dude, by the way. Really funny. Like, Tim Ruddy was the smartest dude out there, okay? Notre Dame. Come on, man. You actually have to hit the books there. Tim Ruddy was the most boring interview on purpose. He did it on purpose. And you put mics and notepads in his face, and, brother, he would give you the lamest, most cliche answers out there, right? But then on Fridays, it was like a loose Friday with Tim Ruddy, right? You guys will never know about this because you never got to experience it. Nobody got to experience it except us media members. And so we would, on Fridays, it was more of a looser day, right? Most of us got our work in, we got our quotes in, all that kind of stuff. So Ruddy would have a little, a little impromptu type of get together, not a press conference, because pads were put away, tape recorders were put away, cameras were put away, and we'd bullshit with him for, 5, 10, 15 minutes. And dude, he was awesome. He was colorful. He was funny. He's witty. He's a really good dude, man. One of the best people I've ever covered is Tim Ruddy. And he had some bad days, obviously, because Ted Washington would be the bugaboo of his career. And that's the one thing that, you ask a Doll fan, oh, he couldn't block Ted Washington. And I love when Doll fans bring that up because they make it sound like the other 30 teams were blocking Ted Washington, except for Tim Ruddy. You know, like Ted Washington was two buildings combined into one human being, and he was an immovable object. Like, you weren't going to stop him. And so Tim struggled against Ted Washington like everybody struggled against big ass Ted Washington. I mean, that was a mammoth human being, bro. And Dolphin fans would bust his balls because the Bills were a really good team in those days, man. It wasn't just a Ted Washington thing. Wasn't Williams the other guy next to him or something? I mean, it was just like they were a monster team in those days. But Tim was a good center. Was he Dwight Stevenson? No. Was he Jim Langer? No. And nobody ever puts Tim Ruddy at that level, but he was solid. He was a good player, man. And he was good against most guys except Ted Washington. You know, but I'll tell you this, on Fridays, he was awesome. Awesome. It was funny. It was edgy, you know, and he could say things there that he would never, ever say with a notepad open or my tape recorder rolling or any of that kind of stuff. Really good dude, man. I don't know if he still lives in town. But I'll tell you, if you ever see him, you know, he is one of the best people I have ever covered in pro sports. That I can tell you. Really, really good dude. I got nothing but love for Tim Ruddy. So there's my Tim Ruddy. I'm not going to tell you any of the kind of stuff he told me because obviously it was off mic stuff, but he was funny, man. He was funny, and he would say the kind of shit that you would never say with a camera on, but it was great. It was great. I remember the day we drafted Ted Ginn and his family. Great times with Cam Cameron. Yes. Fail forward fast. Oh, man. Big O, do you remember the quarterback that passed the ball to Ted Ginn in that Jet game? It's a good question. I'm trying to. Were we in the Tannehill era yet? No, right? Were we? Because it was Randy Mueller and Cam Cameron. So we weren't in the Tannehill era yet, right? Wow. It's right before Pennington. Was it Matt Moore? It was Henny? It was Henny? I don't know. I don't remember now. Lenny Pena says, right, it was Henny. It was Henny then? So many bad quarterbacks. It's amazing. Big O, what was it like talking to Dan Marino, not just the microphone, but personally? Dan, off the air, off the mic, is a really cool and direct dude. Okay? Very Pittsburgh-like in the way he talks about things, but a good dude. I listen, I'm not the guy. I didn't have a ton of personal conversations with Marino. I've had maybe 2 or 3 in my lifetime. I've obviously covered him many press conferences, but personal conversations, I think I can remember only 2 or 3 on the side for a couple of moments. All I can ever tell you about Dan, I can never say anything bad about Dan. I never will. Was always super cool with me. That's all I can ever tell you about Dan. You know what I mean? That's it. I know that Dan has had a reputation that he's had some edgy things with people at times and all that, but I'm not the guy that could ever say anything, bad about Dan. He was always very cool with me. Very cool. Can't complain. Let's see. Man, I remember they were hyping Beck before the Steelers game. Yeah. Yeah, John Beck. John Beck. At least he's turned into a good trainer. That's a good thing, right? By the way, the youth fair is back through April 9th, folks. So get on down there, take advantage. They've got a ton of rides, the Niagara Falls, the Euro Slide, the Matterhorn, the Bullet Train roller coaster. They've got all kinds of performances too, cultural performances, the Lion Dance Show, the Aloha Islanders, the Bagpipe Miami, the Delu Africa. You probably won't catch DeSantis there. They've got all kinds of attractions. They've got the garden, they've got the barn, they've got the petting zoo for the kids. Of course, they've got a daily parade that starts at 6:30 p.m. They've got the Safari Sam and Oscar the Awesome Ostrich, the living statue, and the strolling tables. They've got all kinds of things going on. And, of course, great food at the fair. You can enjoy the Garcia sausage bowl, the Miami Cuban funnel cake sandwich, the pickle lemonade that Sean Stanley loves, the bacon pineapple burger, the chili lime candy apple, and so many things going on at the fair. We'll be giving away a family 4-pack tomorrow. We'll be giving away a couple of those. So make sure you are listening. Be there, baby. The world of fun. That is the theme this year, the world of fun. And you'll see all the different countries around the fair. So it's going to be a pretty cool thing. So take advantage. Get your elephant ear. Get your turkey leg. Be there, baby. The fair. All right. Yes, sir, Sean. What do you got for me?
No, I was looking at Ted Ginn. He was with the Dolphins 07 to 09. The quarterbacks during that time would have been Trent Green, Cleo Lemon, John Beck, Chad Pennington, Chad Henne.
All right. There you go. In Spanish, we call that meao de gato. Yes? Oh, okay.
I was thinking basura.
Basura is good, but I'll go with meao de gato. Do you know what meao de gato is? You have any idea, Sean? Can you translate meao de gato?
Gato is cat, right?
Right. Meao de gato.
The meow of the cat.
Yeah, but it's not meow like in a meow. And meao de gato is the piss of cat. So, yes. So basically, you mentioned piss of cat. It doesn't sound as good in English. That's the weird thing about languages, right? There are sayings in a certain language that sound great and they sound funny or they're accurate or whatever, very descriptive. But then when you flip it over to English, it just doesn't sound the same. You know, it just doesn't flow. It's just one of those things. Like a Hispanic person, the first time I said meao de gato, they probably laughed. You know, it's probably what happened. But yeah, it is what it is. Purple Panther piss, LOL says. Cat piss is a strain of weed. It was great, says NorCal. Oh, Dolphins had horrible QBs. Glad that's past us. Just those three. It was 20 years of bad road, bro, of QBs. I hear Moises Alou was very cordial. Yeah. Obviously, Big Bob, you've heard the stories. Obviously, You're asking me that because you know that you've heard me talk about what kind of an asshole Moises Alou was. Nice job, Big Bob. That's the biggest asshole I've ever covered in sports, period. Moises Alou. Biggest first-class asshole I've ever covered in sports. Okay? What a jag-off, dude. God, I can't stand Moises Alou. What a freaking waste. Great player. Want him on my team, but never want to have to deal with him. Jesus Christ, what a jerk. That guy would get game-winning hits all the time or part of runs that ended up winning or whatever. And after almost every game, you wanted to talk to Moises Alou because he was always part of something. Dude, he was a hell of a player. Seriously, he could play defense, offense. He was just a complete player. But wow, he couldn't even be close to his dad. Like Felipe Alou was the classiest individual you'd ever meet. Moises Alou was just a fucking asshole. Okay, let me unleash the French. Okay? Like really, like a first-class jerk, dude. All the time. And he would get a hit, right? He would get a big hit, whatever, and he knew we wanted to talk to him. So we would go get Jim Leland, then we will get the players, this, that, whatever. Usually your pitcher was kind of last because he was icing or whatever, and then you come, you get him, and then we'd all walk over to Moises Alou's locker, and stand there, bro. 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. And the asshole was walking around the locker room talking to guys with his ice shoulder and, putting down 3 or 4 Presidentes. And he sees us standing there. He could just walk over, answer a couple questions, and then leave. But the asshole just wanted to make us wait on purpose. Like, he did this all the time, dude. For no reason at all. Just walking around the locker room, screwing around, talking with guys, this, that, and we'd see, oh, there, he's low on a Presidente. Oh, there he goes. He's going to the back to get another Presidente. And we'd be counting the Presidentes, and we'd be, because none of us could leave. Writers couldn't get their complete story because they needed a Moises Alou quote. I couldn't leave because I had to get a Moises Alou quote because the next morning, Joe Rose would be freaking out if there wasn't a Moises Alou, cut that he saw on television that he had on Channel 6 or somewhere else, and if I didn't stay for it. You know what I mean? So nothing against Joe. He's right to, like, hey, where's the cut? That kind of stuff. But what my point is that, we all had a reason why we had to stay. And he knew it. And he would do it over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Now, you've heard this story before, Big Bob. That's why you cranked me up a little bit there, and you threw Moises Alou at my ass. Kevin Brown was the other asshole. Kevin Brown was Mr. 10 strikeout day and a win, rubbing his chest, leaning against the locker room. Yeah, guys, what you got? Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that was, yeah, I threw him a curve there. Yeah. Yeah. And then when he would lose, he'd be sitting in a chair with his arms folded, looking down, giving you one-word answers. But Moises Alou will never get a break in my book for the first-class asshole that he was all year long. Okay? He didn't learn a damn thing from his dad at all. Hey, who covered baseball? Our next guy. Let's have some fun with that. Let's go. Let's unleash some Canes talk. Our Canes, where Miami Hurricanes report with Manny Navarro. next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Good morning, Manny. How you doing, baby? You doing all right?
Doing good. Oh, how are you?
Very good. Can't complain, my brother. There was, somebody was asking me about Moises Alou, and they were just cranking me out because I think that person had heard my stories before. That Moises was the biggest asshole I ever covered in baseball. And I guarantee you've covered all sports like I have.
Yep.
That if I told you who's the biggest asshole you ever covered in sports, it'll come from baseball, I guarantee you. And who was it, Manny Navarro? Who's the biggest asshole you ever covered in sports?
That's a great question. though. I got to give that one a lot of thought because I've had the fortune in my 26 years now, 27 years now in this business to be around baseball, college football, NBA. There's been a ton. I'll tell you this. I can tell you this. The nicest guys, believe it or not, for me anyway, in my experience, have been in the NBA. The guys who you actually can develop some sort of rapport with.
Yeah, there's a lot of good NBA dudes. Yeah.
There's a lot of good NBA guys. One of my favorite was Kelly Olynyk when he was here with the Heat. Him and Goran Dragic, those two guys, super cool, super down to earth. You could talk about anything with them. Even Dwayne Wade, there were a lot of times I would just go up to his locker and chit-chat with him. But definitely baseball, I think you're on the right track. I think most of the, there's some guys who were just flat out jerks who didn't want to help you do your job whatsoever. They looked at you as the enemy, really for no good reason, because it's not like we really ripped these guys or we weren't the New York media.
Did you cover 97? Did you cover Marlins 97?
I was not, because I had been at the Herald only 2 years at that point. I was around the 2003 team more, but that
was I was around a little bit on that one.
Yeah,
but those kids were young, so they were a lot more,
Right, they were different. They were different for sure.
They weren't affected yet.
It's not Reniel Pinto. Who am I thinking of? Who was the guy who played multiple positions back then? I don't know if it was 97, but the early 2000s. He was kind of a utility guy for them, Hispanic guy. Just was always, when I remember his name, I'll tell you. But I remember his face, and I just can't come up with his name. Was it Alfredo Amezinga? I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah, Amezinga did play a couple of positions. Yeah.
I think it might have been Amezinga. For whatever reason, this dude just did not like me, and I couldn't figure out why. But every time I was in that locker room, he was just really rude and just an ass for no reason. Right? It was just kind of like I'm gonna be mean to this dude for no reason. And he laughed, and he make the other guys crack up, and so there's listen, in every sport you could find an example or two, but to me, in my experience, and all honesty, I swear to God, to me, there's no organization that handles a lot of this better than the Heat.
Yeah. Well, the Heat, normally the Heat don't take in bad people. That's the thing about the Heat, that they usually take in pretty good character people overall. Some have kind of slipped through the cracks lately, like Whiteside and things like that. But it's mostly no. But in basketball, my experience is there's a lot of good dudes, in basketball. Baseball is the one that has, and again, I have my theories on that. My theory is that you get to be more well-rounded in the other sports because you get to be exposed to media and things like that. In baseball, in high school, nobody gives a shit about high school baseball. You're not going to get any media attention like you are in football or even basketball. Then you move on to the minors or college baseball. Again, nobody gives a shit. And in college baseball, even if you're in a good college baseball program, what's going to be in the locker room? 2 or 3 people? Not a lot is going to be there to bother you. And then all of a sudden you go to the minors and you're in A ball and B and all this kind of, and then all of a sudden you get thrusted into the majors. And now for the first time in your life, you've never had to deal with all this media stuff. And I think it becomes quite a challenge, for some of these guys. Plus, they don't get the college education. So they don't get that college experience. And I think that dumbs them down a little bit because a lot of those guys are coming straight out of high school and going into pro ball. So they also aren't developed either in that sense. It reminds me a lot of Patriot assistant coaches. As Belichick keeps his Patriot coaches, like Kim Jong-un keeps his citizens locked away from everybody, away from everything. And then all of a sudden, they get a job in the real world and they get thrusted in there. And then all of a sudden, McDaniel and Strong and Flores and I'm forgetting another guy that also was a flop. Patricia. All of a sudden, you thrust them in front of the media, and they just look like complete idiots. You know what I mean? And I think baseball players, to a certain extent, they're kind of sheltered away from all of that stuff, and they don't learn how to grow in the media, and that's why they're kind of rough and edgy when they finally get to the majors. That's just my theory on that.
Well, I agree. I agree with you, and I would say the other aspect is that in baseball, you're never taught to be an individual, right? Whereas in the NBA, you're your own brand, right? You're as a player, you're your own brand. I would say even in football, right? In a lot of ways, those guys know, like the Patrick Mahomes of the world. Hey, I've got my baseball players. Like it's just the mentality of team, screw everybody else, and I think that's the world that they grow up in, and so they're not ready to deal with having to brand themselves and carry themselves in public.
Yet they're in the most individual sport out of the team sports that exist.
Right.
It's amazing how it's amazing how baseball players haven't gotten Twitter and Instagram and how to promote their sport and all that kind of stuff.
Why are they so invisible?
Football,
right?
Soccer, and basketball are so ahead. All those players are so ahead of baseball players. It's crazy, dude.
Because to me, there's no emphasis within these organizations for them to shine as individuals. They really do not have any plan for that. Like the PR people do not. It's never, hey, you're an individual. No, it's the other way around. So,
yeah. Last night, by the way, it just looked like nobody was in UConn's class. Really, when you look at it, if you're honest with yourself, nobody was in UConn's class, right?
No, I mean the size, right? I mean to have the kind of length that they have in the post, guys that can just swat shots and keep you out of the paint. I mean you have two of those dudes that can do that regularly. You're going to be pretty formidable, really tough to beat, and unfortunately for Miami and the other teams that came across their path, they really were no match for UConn. I think Miami obviously did the best job. They kept it within 10 there in the second half on Saturday night. But, that's the kind of team that just is too loaded. And again, it shows you how far away you really are from a national championship for a program like Miami. Yes, you got to the Final Four, but they don't have size. I mean, you look at their roster with Omir and being your big man and playing that small lineup, that only takes you so far. In the end, teams that have size and depth are the ones that win championships, and that's something that Jim Larrañaga has to focus on, I think, here in this offseason, is find some more guys that can help him win a championship. They've gotten to this point. We've seen Miami rise over the last 2 years, Elite Eight and Final Four. Now, with the transfer portal, go out and find yourself some big men that can win you games in April.
Yeah, no, that and let me tell you, that's the good thing about where they're at, because it's multiple 16s, a Final Eight, now a Final Four. So there's a gradual build that's actually going on here. Yep. So it's not like FAU, this is an aberration for them. Now they have to prove that just getting to the tournament is a norm for them. Larrañaga's already proven that getting to the tournament for him is pretty much a norm, throughout his career. And if I'm correct, this was his third Sweet 16. Right,
third or fourth, I think it might have been with Miami.
Fourth, if we throw George Mason in, but I mean third for the Canes already in his career, right? So that's impressive. And then as of late, he's taking them last year to the Final Eight. Now this year he took them to the Final Four. So
Yeah.
he's building on that. Dusty May has to kind of prove that this is the beginning of them kind of getting in the run. As for Larinaga, it's exactly what you said. This has all been established. Now you've got to try to find that extra edge you need that you were missing to kind of
Right.
complete the puzzle.
Yeah, and look, kudos for what they've been able to do. It's not going to be easy. They have some key guys to replace, right? I mean, Jordan Miller's was a
Money player.
huge piece of their success for them. My guess is a guy like Isaiah Wong is probably going to go pro after winning ACC Player of the Year, and testing the NBA waters the last couple of years. My guess is he'll probably not come back. And then we'll see what happens with Nigel Pack and Norchad. I think those guys would probably be smart to stay in school. Then it's a matter of can you develop guys around them. Wooga Poplar, I thought there were points in this tournament where he really popped, and you thought, man, this guy could really be a key player for Miami next year. We'll see what they do with some of the young guys. They signed 4 freshmen in the 2022 cycle. They had a guy in this one. Michael Nwoko, a big man, the only signee in the 23 class. We'll see what happens once he gets on campus. But, this is where you have to keep reloading. If you're going to be a perennial contender, like Larinaga wants him to be, and figure out the right formula. Maybe you play with a little bit more size this year than you did this past year. Maybe you try to build a little bit more depth. So when guys get into foul trouble, you're not afraid to go to your bench at times. So, but I think, look, the program's headed in the right direction. This is the first time any Miami program, in my mind, in the last 20 years has taken real steps towards a championship. And kudos to Larinaga for being the coach to do that.
Well, you're now playing Larinaga's style of basketball. So,
Mhm.
he's not competing anymore with schools loaded with McDonald's All-Americans. Now it's kind of an even level playing field now, and that's where you kind of like his chances. UConn was a little bit more talented, a little bit more physical. If he can get to that point where he can get a little bit more physical, and he's going to be able to maybe hang a banner one day for the University of Miami. All right, let's get to football. Anything in practices going on that has caught your eye so far?
Yeah, I mean, I did a video last week on the offensive line, and I feel like the one major takeaway you can take away from this spring so far through through the 10 practices and all the injuries of guys being out is that the offensive line is legitimately better in my mind. Mario, between the recruiting, everything that he's done, restocking this roster through the transfer portal, to me, that's the one thing you say, okay, they accomplished a better offensive line in the offseason. That's real. That's not fake. They're going to be an improved unit. Everything else, is really hard to tell. I think Colby Young, sort of emerging as the true number 1 wide receiver on this team. I think that's on the path to happening. I think the linebacker position, I think that's been upgraded. I think Francis Mauigoa's brother Francisco, the older one that came from Washington State, I think he's really developed and taken a step forward at that position, where now you have some more confidence at that position. But what's real and what's not, it's really hard to tell because there's so many guys that have been banged up out throughout camp. James Williams, I know, reportedly came back today to practice. I didn't go out to practice. I was in Orlando over the weekend for the Elite 11.
Did he have
regional.
shoulder surgery or something like
Yeah,
that?
he had shoulder surgery and was sort of being brought back along slowly. I think they just want him to get involved and be involved in some of the workouts and the practices. Mario is not rushing anybody back from injury. There's nothing to prove. There's no battles won in spring. This is just, hey, you're healthy. The staff cleared you to come back and practice. Come back and practice. Go through some drills. Do
little
some stuff.
conditioning, right? Yeah.
Do a little conditioning. But again, like, all of that stuff is so minute. Like, if this was the middle of the season, it would be a footnote. All this stuff would be, sort of minor. When we get to the fall, that's when we'll find out who the real starters are at what positions. And, last spring we went through it, the same sort of thing. There were a bunch of guys' names that were flagged. Oh, look at this guy. He's playing at this position. He's doing great. And they never played. They never got on the field because this is the time where guys are healing from injuries and recovering from surgery, etc. So other than the offensive line and the other 2 things I mentioned, linebacker and receiver, there really isn't a lot that's serious to take away from this camp. I think quarterback, maybe Emory Williams, him being a guy that could potentially be a backup this coming season if he continues to develop the way that they want. Passing the guys ahead of him on the depth chart, but overall, man, like I expect Miami to be better on offense. But defense remains to be seen because D tackle is a huge hole in my mind. They got to address that in the transfer portal.
How is Tyler with the new offense? Is he, because obviously he wasn't comfortable and he wasn't himself last year because the offense was not catered to him. But I would imagine that if you're bringing him back and you made the change, it's because you're trying to also cater to him a lot more. What have you heard about where he's at in the comfort zone of this new offense?
Well, when it comes to Tyler, I mean, he started camp. He was still sort of feeling the after effects of the season, still healing and recovering his body, his shoulder from some of the hits that he took. But I think as camp has settled in, as he's got a chance to learn this offense, and Shannon Dawson said they were going to implement probably 65, 75, 70% of this offense here in camp. I think he likes what he's playing in from what I've been told. He likes the system. This is much more quarterback friendly. This is much more Tyler Van Dyke friendly, much more of the kind of offense he ran the last 6 games of the 2021 season when he was the ACC Rookie of the Year. So from a quarterback friendly offense, this is the type of system he can thrive in. And I think he's got, like I mentioned, a better offensive line. I think Colby Young is stepping into that number 1 receiver role, but there's still a lot of unknowns. He needs to get his tight end back. Elijah Arroyo has to come back. He's been out all spring. We got to see how they build their chemistry. I think we need to see who the real number 1 running back is going to be. I know Henry Parrish in camp has been doing that. He was the leading rusher last year, but I know that Miami had some high hopes for other guys to see how they would develop. So as far as Tyler's concerned, man, like I think he's comfortable, but this offense, we still really don't know because there's some missing pieces.
By the way, somebody's saying that Amezaga was from Miami High. So you're picking on a stingery, bro.
I apologize, but for whatever reason, that dude, I just remember he would make all kinds of faces in the background. We're trying to interview a guy. He was just kind of, saying things under his breath. I mean, it was a little annoying every time you tried to go in there post game to get your job done.
Some guy, Kells, says, my restaurant I work at has some crazy stories about Jim Leland back in the 90s.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something. I'll never be the same human being ever again where I had to walk into that office of his in spring training for a couple of weeks, and I had to look at that man shirtless every day at 7 a.m. while he's and trapped in a room with him.
Well, I was going to say secondhand smoke, right? The secondhand smoke probably took a year off your life.
That son of a bitch was lighting one cigarette after another while drinking a chocolate milkshake for breakfast, shirtless, answering our questions. And I think he did everything possible to say, I got to get rid of these sons of bitches. I'll be shirtless. I'll smoke like a chimney. They won't want to be in that room with me too long. I mean, think about that. Back in those days, he was smoking like a chimney inside a room, and you're stuck in there, bro. And you like,
yeah, not a good place for health for sure.
And then you come out smelling like shit, bro.
Yeah,
you walk out and you're like, damn, dude, I smell like. Just call me Mr. Marlboro for the rest of the damn day.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh man, I smell like Jim Leland now.
We did the who's the worst in the locker room. How about coach wise? Who was your favorite coach to be in a press conference with? Did you have a guy who just
Pat Riley? That's not even close.
Yeah,
it's not even close. It's over, done. History in the archives. My favorite was Pat Riley. Yeah, even if I had to ask him a tough question, he'd take the challenge on. He wouldn't dick around. He wouldn't. No. He might get pissed at me a little bit, but he'll answer the question. But he was always great because he understood our job, and so he left meat on the bone. And then he was also the guy that would use us to get to his players too at the same time.
Yeah.
So when there was shrinking violets or whatever else that he wanted to throw out to his players, he would do that. And so for me, my favorite coach of all time to cover, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it was, I love Pat Riley, bro.
Yeah, he's fabulous. I got the chance to go into his office a few times when I was covering the Heat for those 3 years, and every time we walked in there, it felt like the movie The Natural. I don't know if you remember The Natural, right? With the shades kind of drawn, it's kind of dark in there, and you walk in there, and there's just all this memorabilia, like all this stuff from over the years, right? And you could barely see his face because he's kind of sitting in the dark, and you could just see the rings on the table. And it was just, every time I was around him. And what I loved is whenever he had to talk about the Celtics, who he absolutely hated, right? And he would just say that team in green or whatever he would say, and how much he hated Danny Ainge and that was just a phenomenal experience.
So Riley's yours too?
Yeah, no question. No question.
I think most of us that have been on the beat for the last 25 years, if you were on the beat with Riley, I don't know how you name another coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I got to tell you, Jimmy was kind of a jerk at times because he was tough, but he was really fun to cover, like really good to cover. Like he also understood our jobs at times.
Mm-hmm.
He would get a little pissed at us sometimes. Like he would hate that I would sit there with the roster and, track who's here, who's not. And
right.
he would walk up to me and go, all right, what are you gaining from knowing who's here and who's not? And I would look at him and go, Coach, it's my job. What do you want me to do? This is what I get paid to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, somebody's got to do it. And he'd just like jog off or something, say something. But then he would show up on Wednesdays and talk to us off record and all that. So, while some of us may have had a couple of run-ins with him, I got to say he was a pretty damn good coach to cover because he still got our job too at times. And he also was one of those psychologists that he would use us to send messages to his players or a specific player or something like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it wasn't too bad, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, the guys that use us the right way are the most fun to be around because they know one way or the other the message is being delivered. So
yeah, you're gonna have bad days, bro. There's gonna be a couple of bad days with those kind of guys because they're super intense. But that's water under the bridge. Whatever. I don't care. That's fine. I can deal with that. But if you're gonna make my job actually, you're gonna respect what I do, then I'm good with that at least, all right, that's cool. We can have our exchanges and all that kind of stuff. Who's the nicest coach you've ever covered?
Wow, that's a good one. Who was the Puerto Rican manager for the Marlins? He was temporary right after Freddie Gonzalez got fired. I'm trying to remember his name now. Was it Edwin Diaz or Edwin? Edwin. I don't know if it was Edwin Rodriguez. I can't remember. But I just remember being around him, Edwin. He was like the fill-in manager for a year and a half for the Marlins between all their firings of different guys. And
Todd Bowles was a golden human being.
He was, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of good ones, man. Like there are a lot of good dudes in this profession that understand you got to do a job. Edwin was the kind of guy who would sit there with you and actually try to teach you something, right? Like, hey, this is why this happened and this is why that happened. And he would talk to you just, some guys don't want to waste any more breath on you than they have to. Edwin was one of those guys who didn't mind taking you to the side and talking to you about something. And I always appreciate that about him.
To bring it full circle, instead of Moises, his dad, Felipe, oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Was that man awesome. Awesome. I walked into his locker room one day when he was a manager, and like he didn't know me from Adam, and like his beat guys were done, and I stayed there talking to him for like 20 more minutes, and he was like awesome. He just got it, it was really, really cool. It reminded me, Dutch Dalton was like that. Darren Dalton. Darren was awesome because Darren would talk to you and then try to teach you at the same time. He'd make you a better reporter when you were done, because he wouldn't talk down to you. He'd actually explain to you what went on, what happened, and why it happened, and all that. And then you walk out of there with this knowledge. You're like, damn, dude, that's freaking awesome. Like, because Dalton saw, catchers, they see everything completely different than everybody else. And they're able to really, the ones that can talk it, they're able to really describe it and break it down for you. It's really, really cool. That's why they usually become the better managers, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because they've got to be there to study everybody, all the pitchers, all the hitters. I mean, they are the encyclopedia. They are the quarterbacks of baseball, really.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Follow him on Twitter and Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe like we do. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
You got it. There you go. Manny Navarro. Don't forget caneswear.com, man. You order over $99, you will get free shipping. They got anything and everything practically with a UM logo on it. They've got Dolphins gear, Marlins gear, Panthers gear, Inter Miami gear. What else? Did I miss? I'm missing something? Missing one of the teams. Anyways, all the local teams, man. They've got all that stuff there. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go see Brett, Jeff, all the great people out there. They will take care of you at caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CS, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right. Thank you all out there as always. Let's see. Moises Salou also got piss on his hands to help him back grip. Yes, I think he did that too. Yes. Gordon says, I remember you always say Brock Marion. Yeah, Brock Marion was also a complete jerk. Total jerk. Troy Ortiz. Oh, did you ever come close to getting into a fight with an athlete? No, never. No, not at all. That's never happened. I remember when Moises broke his ankle sliding into second when he was with the Expos. Frankie says Stella is better. Are we talking about a beer? Okay. John Padilla, just thinking Dolphins had a washed Jay Cutler and Brock at QB. Yes. Come on, Big O, don't hold back. Dolphins had a rotating carousel of below average QBs for far too many years. Tell me about it. 20 years. I'm a reef donkey guy. I don't know what that means. Damn, what a visual, let's see what else. The Jim Leland visual made me lose. Oh, man. You know, I see an old man with saggy tits, okay, and wrinkled up body, and then he's just chain smoking, and it's 7 a.m, and he's drinking a chocolate milkshake. I shit you not, bro. The guy was drinking a chocolate milkshake and smoking cigarettes at 7 a.m. I got nothing against a chocolate milkshake, but at 7 a.m, I'm trapped up in that room and it's just cigarette smoke and this mother effer is just chain smoking, bro. It's gross. Just gross. A 70-year-old man in his underwears, chain smoking and drinking chocolate milkshake and answering your questions. Like, it's just, you can't come up with shit like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can't come up with anything at all like that. Oof. John Rouse is in the house. Ever have any dealings with Parcells? Yeah, a little bit when he first got here. But remember, he really didn't hang around much. He wasn't around to really answer questions or anything like that. At first he was, and then he was gone to Saratoga. So I didn't really get to deal too much with his lazy ass because he really should not have been here at all. Well, you know, Chad, I don't know about the saggy balls, but I would imagine if he had saggy, wrinkly ass chest and tits, I would imagine his balls were sagging and all wrinkled up too. I mean, you know, it could only be natural. Chocolate milkshake in the morning, pure cagalera. And for our Anglo friends out there, Cagalera means diarrhea. I can tell by the smell that you're not feeling well. Diarrhea. Diarrhea. All right, here we go. Hour number 3 of the Big O Radio Show rolls on.
You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there on a beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that. They can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She is mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet mated. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner. When Bono's leaving, you got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out, cuttersedgepro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? Then cut your trees down. And the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy?
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. Yeah. Hour number 3. Hope you all are doing well out there. What are we doing? Adam Gase is not appreciated for his greatness. The man paid Jay Cutler $10 million. I call that a bargain. Miss him. Any news if Pat White finally woke up? Word is he's still sleeping on the sidelines. Man, we've had great QBs and coaches since '99. Yep. Mike Florio reporting that the Patriots are shopping Mac Jones. Is he really reporting that? Well, he didn't commit to Mac Jones in the owners' meetings. He said him and Zappi are going to, compete for the starting job. Let's see. Belichick has shopped Mac Jones this offseason. Not shopping, has shopped. Okay. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, Belichick has shopped Jones to multiple teams during the offseason. The list of potential destinations isn't known. The teams mentioned as potential destinations were the Raiders, Texans, Buccaneers, and Commanders. Obviously, a trade hasn't occurred yet. That doesn't mean that it won't happen. A team hoping to draft a quarterback could pivot to Jones. No, they won't. I mean, who's going to pivot to Mac Jones? Who outside of the Patriots is looking at him going, that guy's a quarterback. That guy for sure. I don't know. Whatever. What can I tell you? So Jill Biden wants LSU and Iowa at the White House. It's the shit we vote into office every 4 years. The other idiot we had in office, what was he serving? McDonald's to people? Anyway. Typical weak-ass Dems. Only weak-ass Dems would come up with the participation trophy of college basketball. Let's also invite the loser. Jill Biden. Jesus Christ. It's freaking embarrassing. Now we're going to invite the runner-up to the White House, too. Oh, they played well also. This is such a soft-ass society, bro. It really is. It's just disgustingly soft. Anyway, Heat are back in action tonight. We have a dangerous matchup, by the way. Very dangerous. Pistons, they're terrible. But the Heat are favored by 12.5 points. So that's a lot of points for this Heat team. Now, the Pistons are really bad. I don't know if Bam, who said he couldn't walk for a couple days and he's doing everything to rehab and get back, and he's, questionable for tonight. But they do have the greatness of Cody Zeller. Do you lay the 12.5 against a team you can't trust in the Miami Heat? You know what I'm going to do with this game? I'm staying away from this game. Okay. All right. Not a financial advisor. I'm just saying it's 12.5. I can't trust the Heat. Now, they've beaten this team by more than 12.5 this year. I mean, this is a really bad basketball team, but the Heat is so unreliable and inconsistent. And if Bam doesn't play, should they still win by 13? Probably, but will they? I can't trust them. I'm not touching that game. I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to touch that game. And then the Sabres and the Panthers tonight at 7 o'clock. Panthers favored by 1.5 goals. We'll see what happens with that one. Crazy stuff. But what are you going to do, right? Can't count on the Heat to beat anybody as well. So, I think they'll win. My problem is the 12.5. I don't know if I can do something like that right now with that team. They should win by 12.5 against this sorry-ass bunch, but still, I can't trust the Heat. I can't lay the 12.5. Be crazy. Pat in Nashville says, remember when they allowed smoking in restaurants and businesses? Walking into some of those places back in the day took courage. We didn't know that. We didn't know about secondhand smoke like we know now. Alex says, people think Mac Jones is actually better than Tua. Oh, they still exist. Well, those are real idiots right there. Softest Cinnabuns. The softness has become prevalent in our sports. Yeah. Yep. I agree. To be fair, I think Mac has potential. He's not Tua, but with the right coach, he could be a better Kirk Cousins. He's kind of my thing with Mac. He has this conservativeness in his game. He doesn't necessarily take as many risks as he should. Drago says, Big O, that's because everyone's favorite little girly that got beat is on Iowa. I bet Jill was still cheering for Iowa. Nah, I just think this is I'm not going to go with the race thing. I'm going to go with soft. That's all. That's all, dude. I'm just going to go with soft. That's what our society is. Okay? And eventually there was going to be some loser that was going to say, oh, we need to bring the runners up too, because, we don't want to feel bad for them. Oh, let's feel bad for the kids that came in second and third and fourth and fifth place. Let's give them participation trophies. It's we have this thing in our society that we want to protect people from failure. We want to protect our banks from failure. We want to protect this from. You're going to fail, man. That's the beauty of life. The beauty of life is that you're the Wright brothers and you didn't create the plane right from the get-go. You failed a shitload of times until what was it, the Kitty Hawk? Until the Kitty Hawk finally took off. That's what failure is all about. That's what success is all about. And we have this thing like we are afraid of our kids failing or something or not. Man, it's good to fail. It builds character. It makes you appreciate shit. So when you do accomplish it, you know how hard it is. So you kept falling off the bike and kept falling off the bike, and then now you don't fall off the bike anymore. But boy, you remember when you fell off the bike, all the scratches and the blood and everything else, right? It's not supposed to be easy. And we have this thing like we want to shelter everyone from adversity, from failure, from coming up short, and that's part of life. And then you're supposed to use it as a teaching moment for yourself, is what you're supposed to do. If you're a parent and your kid strikes out in the bottom of the ninth inning and you lost by a run with a runner on third, that's supposed to be a teaching moment. Okay, so you struck out. What happened? No, the kid's all broken up. Oh, no, let's go buy him McDonald's and let's cuddle him and let's put him in bed and he can sleep all night and sleep it up. No, dude. You talk, you communicate. All right, look, hey, it's happened to me too, man. I failed in this moment, that moment. Now, do you know what happened in that moment? Why did you fail? So let's get prepared so the next time that happens, you're better prepared for it. You attack it. You attack failure. You attack shortcomings. That's the idea. So when you get a D on that test, you keep studying so you can make it a C and a B after that. And you appreciate it because it's not easy. But we have this thing in our world that we need to coddle and protect people. And that's a load of shit, dude. It's good to fail. Those are the lessons, man. We can't protect each other from failure. We can't protect each other from from a lack of success in something, because you've got to learn in life that you're good at this and you're not good at this. And you may never overcome it. And that's just the way it is. And you got to learn to live with it. And somehow or another, we want to make our children forget and make people forget about their failures, or they can't do this or that or whatever. No, man. Embrace it. Let's bring Iowa. Give me a break, dude. Of course that was going to happen. We've been doing the participation trophy shit forever. Of course, eventually there was going to be one loser that was going to say, oh, yeah, let's also bring the runner-up too. Give me a break. The runner-up doesn't get to go to the White House. Okay? You lost. It's over. You don't get to go to the White House. That's the way it should be. Deal with it. Besides, the only thing important was winning the championship, not going to the stinking White House. Who gives a shit if I want to meet Clinton or Trump or Obama or Biden or whatever the next clown that we put in the next couple of years? Who gives a shit? It was about winning that Super Bowl. It was about winning the Larry O'Brien trophy. It's about winning the women's NCAA championship. Who cares about meeting the president? Big freaking deal, dude. Biden won't even know who the hell you are. And the orangutan won't know who you are. He'll just feed you some McDonald's. Jill Biden. That's just loser talk. That's part of what we have in our country. That's why our kids are soft. Because of shit like this. Because of the Joe Bidens of the world. That's why our kids are soft, because we think like this. Big O, when I was a little kid, we took third place in a bowling league. Can I go to the White House? Well, apparently Joe Biden wants you there. Big O, we always learn from failure. Now it takes your hand and walks you across the street instead of just looking both ways and walk on your own. Society is going in the wrong direction. Well, we're already in the wrong direction. We have a lot of stupid people in this world. We just got a governor and said, hey, everybody carry a gun. So we just gave stupid people a really dangerous option now. Because, of course, more guns on the street is going to be good. Yeah, no, that's the smartest thing in the world. We just constantly do stupid things. You are supposed to learn from your mistakes and failure, not coddle and not be able to be better. That's right. Failure builds character. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is why I respect Tua's upbringing so much. That kid is not afraid of failure and uses it as fuel. We need more people like that in sports. Just wish the whole fan base would embrace him. You know what it is, Alec? Or Alex, I'm sorry. No, it is Alec. I'm sorry, with a K. The thing, Alec, is that Tua's old school because he's Samoan, is it? Or whether it's Samoan or Polynesian, most of the people cut from that ilk, they're all old school. You know what I'm saying? Like they're hardcore, man. So Tua was already used to like my kind of upbringing. He had my kind of dad, the kind of dad that busts your balls. You know what I'm saying? You know how I learned to swim? I was on a boat in the ocean, and I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old or whatever. And I was, and we would go a lot to skin dive. All right. And skin diving, for those of you that don't know, it's without the tanks. It's just snorkeling. And then when you got a spear gun, and then when you see the fish, you then dive and you're, that's what's called skin diving back in those days. I don't know what they call it nowadays. They got different names for everything nowadays. So I would go a lot with my dad, right? And I asked him, hey, you got to teach me how to swim. And he goes, we're going to teach you right now. And he just pushed me right off the boat in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. That's old school, baby. That's old school. Middle of the ocean. Bam. Oh, you got to teach me. Oh, well, right now. Boom. Everybody's laughing. You're falling out over the water. Let's go. Paddle. Paddle. Kick your feet. Kick your feet. There you go. Okay, now you got it. It's a soft-ass world, bro. Soft-ass world. So, to me, it's not about, Caitlin, that she likes her over the LSU girls and all that stuff. And obviously, people want to use race and all that. It's softness. Has nothing to do with any of that. So, Big O, you're saying we have failed forward fast. Yes, sir, George. I threw my son's participation trophy in the garbage right in front of him when we got home. That stuff breeds losers. He gets it and told me to throw it away. Society is soft. Good. Who gives a shit about a participant? Who's going to be proud? If my kid, okay, like my girl's already, she's old already, or, she's in her 20s. But if she was proud of a participation trophy, I would have done the same thing True Fin Fan did. I would have ripped it out of her hands and thrown it in the trash. My daughter used to get pissed at second place. That's what I want. I want my child to be pissed about failure and attack it like it's evil, like with vengeance that you've got to overcome. That's how my daughter used to attack failure. And that's what I want my kid to do. Oh, it's all right. You did a good job. No, hey, let's find out what we got to do to get better. So you can get an A, not a B. So you can get in first place, not in second. That's all. Not that you're a failure. Hey, you did a great job. Now let's do what we have to do to be better. That's what you tell them. You don't berate them or anything like that. You don't downgrade them or degrade them or anything like that. You don't do any of that. Hey, great effort. All right, you're not happy you were in second? That's all right, no problem. Let's see what we do in order to get you to first. What do you have to do in order to get to first? Why did you end up in third? Why did you end up in fourth? I did this and this and this. Okay, so what do you got to do to correct it? That's how you attack it. So to me, the Joe Biden stuff is just part of our soft ass society. Cap for life. Miami just became the wild, wild west. The city is becoming closer and closer to Cali, Philly, and Seattle, and Oregon. Downfall if we don't figure out how to get to Mars. We're pretty much dust in the wind, bro. Yeah. It's like you're going to do this. It's like you got to go out less, as little as possible. Let's see. Little O was shark bait, says King Short. My dad did the same thing, threw me in the deep end of the pool, and that's how I learned to swim. Thank you, Pops. Exactly. That's it. You know they're standing there that if you actually start to drown, they're going to dive in and save you. But they're telling you while you're trying to swim. They're telling you how to swim, and you better listen. If you ain't first, you're last. There you go, Emilio. NorCal says, I was once so disappointed with a crop in my backyard that I drove over it and with a riding mower, swearing like a trucker the whole time. Smelled great, though. You're making too much sense. Oh, stop, heads are exploding. Thank you, Emilio. Pasta Vazul says, although at this point I would embrace my kid bringing home a participation trophy over a book about transgender and little Timmy turning into Tanya. I think that's all a bunch of loaded shit anyways. You know what I mean? What do you got at home? What's your upbringing at home? You'll be fine. You have upbringing at home. Some book that's out there isn't going to do a goddamn thing. So that's just a whole bunch of nothing. But whatever. It's a great tool for the extreme conservatives to then start banning all kinds of other books. They just use that as a crutch to then get to everything else. But that's all right. Whatever. You either fall for the Democrats bullshit or you fall for the Republicans bullshit, especially the idiot conservatives, that want to control everything. But that's all right. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. I see it with the Dems. I see it with the Republicans. They all fall for the same crap. You both get suckered by each side, thinking they actually are doing something that they're looking out for you. Big O, your thoughts on Vladimir Putin creation of a new international reserve currency with the 14th BRICS summit, Turkey, Egypt. Well, like I've said, bro, Bitcoin. There's no currency in the world that is going to carry anything. All currencies are dying. All of them. Every single one. What the U.S. is losing and what you're talking about is the leverage of becoming the world's currency. And so now it's being used less and less in different transactions. But it doesn't really make their currency better or anything like that. It's all their currencies are all still going down. But it's mostly more about exchanging goods and trade to stay away from the U.S. dollar. Okay. And this is why, not a financial advisor, Bitcoin. It's going to be all this pissing war. Currencies are all going to die. All fiat currencies always die. That's always been the history of fiat currencies. They all die and they all end up in zero. So it's only a matter of time. But what you're seeing is a lot of trade that's going on now, and they're not using the U.S. dollar, okay? And then the U.S. dollar has done a piss poor job of printing and printing and printing and printing, devaluing the dollar, Okay. And that's the problem. And we did way too much during the Trump era and way too much now during the Biden era. We have printed more money during these last two presidents than, we printed more than I think it was more than 40% of the currency that was already out there. And we're now going to print a couple trillion more now. We have just destroyed the dollar. And before Trump, Obama was twice as worse as George Bush Jr. And George Bush Jr. was also a disaster. And this has been going on for decades. And it doesn't matter who you put in. And again, on this show, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I think you're both dog shit. Just so you'll know, I don't care about any of them. I care about Americans. I don't care about Democrats, and I don't care about Republicans at all. None of them mean a damn thing to me. So for those of you out there, because I know there's some of you idiots out there, oh, he took a shot at a Democrat, but he didn't take a shot at a Republican. Oh, he took a shot at a Republican, but he didn't take a shot at a Democrat. It's like you idiots out there. Oh, my God, you took a shot at my party, but you didn't take a shot at their party? Like, really, dude? You're a participation trophy person also? Your little feelings are hurt? What's the worst part? Idiot Republicans and idiot Democrats that think they've got it right. That's the best part. That you think your party's got it right. Your party's dog shit. Okay? Both of them. They're cancers in every way possible. Doesn't matter if it's Trump or Elizabeth Warren, that freaking clown. Doesn't matter, bro. They're all clowns. None of them know what the hell they're doing. And they all are setting us up for failure. Problem is you're too stupid, stuck in your Republican and Democrat ways, and you don't see it because you're so locked into your side. And you're not even rooting for Americans. You're just rooting for your ridiculous side to win what? Win the edge in destroying our country? Because that's all Republicans and Democrats are doing is destroying our country. So it's just like those of you out there that are like, bro, get a life. Seriously, get a life. Oh my God, I took a shot at a Republican. Oh, well, why don't you take a shot at a Democrat? It's like, listen to the show. I don't give a shit about either of you. And if you're stuck in your parties, well, then you're a loser. That's all. You're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. And that's why we're going to hell. We're already in hell. Thanks to all these idiots that we've put in office for decades. It's ridiculous. Seems Big O and I are equal opportunity offenders. Well, Emilio, no, that's not true because I'll get a butthurt Democrat sending me a DM. Oh, why'd you do that? Why didn't you take it? And then I'll get the same thing from some idiot Republican. Same shit. I get it all the time. It's like, well, you only pick on one side. It's like, bro, you only listen to whatever you want to hear because I pick on everybody because none of them are any good. I like to party, so I'm independent. The problem is I'd love for us to have some power, but independents have no power. We have no candidates. We have no power. So being in the middle, it's like, it's useless. It's like there's nothing. Being a Democrat's a waste of time. Being a Republican's a waste of time. And then being an independent is a waste of time. We've already voted in all these people. Bro, we have George Santos in office. George Santos. And then we keep him in office. How can you take us serious when you have George Santos in office? How can you take anybody serious when that clueless fool, Elizabeth Warren, is given power and everything? She's a total waste. Jesus, that woman's a waste. Problem is both parties won't up any of their core beliefs. My wife's body, her choice, and let me keep my AR-15. Yeah, it's so stupid. Yeah. Well, like I said, Pat, you got the Democrats, right? They say, oh, we want gun control. No, but we'll allow you to steal all you want. You can steal $1,000 in California. And I just saw yesterday another business is closing because of the crime and the shoplifting in California. No, but we want to control guns. No, but we'll allow people to steal all over the place. And then you got the idiot conservatives, right? Oh, don't tell me to wear a mask, but I'll tell you, you can't have an abortion. It's like, all these parties, that's all they ever do. They contradict themselves. They tell you one thing and then they do completely the opposite. Same thing. They all do the same crap. It's disgusting. And guess who loses? You and me, Americans. Not Democrats, not Republicans. Americans lose. That's the part that Democrats and Republicans continue to miss out. None of you are winning. You're all losing. And you don't get it. You don't get it at all. You're just stuck on your sides. And let the extremes bury both sides. We used to have the Republicans and the Democrats that were, moderate, right in the middle, and you had your give and take. That's gone. That's history. So, and we'll never get that third party because find me a candidate. Find me a Democrat or a Republican that you would vote for, really vote for. Like that you have true belief in. You can't find one. It doesn't exist. So, just sad, man. It really is. It's sad how screwed we are with everything going on. By the way, let me switch a little gears here. Talk a couple of things here. First of all, let's talk a little Dolphins. I have not talked a little Dolphins here throughout. And by the way, I haven't checked a little Bitcoin action. Let me see where Bitcoin probably still locked in at 28. I would imagine somewhere there. I'm waiting for that run. Yep, right at 28,000. Although Ethereum is making a run. It's up almost 3.75%, almost 4%. It's up to 1861. That is also due for a little bit of a run also. Anyway, let's get into Dolphins. First of all, the Miami Dolphins signed or extended Durham Smythe, a 2-year contract extension. Not crazy numbers or anything like that. And I think what the Dolphins are doing and the message they're kind of sending is they're not exactly sure what they're doing at tight end in the draft. They're not exactly sure if they can find a tight end in free agency. They're not exactly sure if they can find a tight end in the trade game. They do need to get that one tight end to kind of, be that guy in the offense that does it all, block and catch. Well, that's Durham Smythe. Now, is Durham Smythe in the Kittle department? Of course not. Okay. Not that Travis Kelce is Mr. Block, but is he in the Travis Kelce department? No, he's not there, right? Is he Darren Waller as a wide receiver? No, he's not there. But he is a solid wide receiver, and he's a very good blocker overall. So he is their only true two-way tight end that they can count on, their own draft pick and the guy that they've developed and brought along. And to Durham's credit, he has gotten better as a pass catcher. But you've got to lock him in because he's a pro's pro. Durham Smythe doesn't complain about being a number one, doesn't complain about being the number two, doesn't complain if he has to block, doesn't complain if he has to pass catch, doesn't complain if he doesn't play. And he's been an absolute pro and gotten better every single year overall. As we can see, the dynamic talent isn't there. So you're never going to get the guy that's going to stretch the field, that is going to scare the shit out of safeties and say, oh, man, this is a guy I got to really watch, or a linebacker is, man, I got to be really sharp with this guy, stay with him on cuts and everything because this guy can separate. No, that's not going to happen. Okay, but Durham can get open and can catch the ball. So what you do is you lock up the guy, the devil you know. Now, it's the devil you don't know. So Sobert's here for a 1-year deal. You still have the project going on, right, that you brought in last year, and you hope that that kid can do something. Maybe you do something in the draft. We'll find out. But if you don't, at least you can go with somebody serviceable in Smythe, and then whatever you end up developing with Tanner Connor or whatever ends up working out for you. You know what I mean? So it was a smart move to lock in a guy that you know is going to be a pro's pro. A guy that you know that even if you find the number one, Durham Smythe is not clamoring to be number one. He's fine being the guy you have him in that role, the number two, the blocker, and pass catcher. So really smart move overall. Is it a splash move? No. But role players are very important. And these are the kind of guys that you want to have, because you're not going to have two Darren Wallers and two Travis Kelce's and two George Kittles and two of whatever. That's just not normal to have those kind of guys. So if you finally find one, the guy that plays the number two is going to be a guy that's very reliable in Durham Smythe. Really good move by the Dolphins. I like that one. Don't forget, by the way, EJD Construction, servicing Dade and Broward counties, 305-433-4843. Folks, custom home construction, major home remodeling. You need to upgrade that roof because you're trying to renew that insurance policy. Call EJD Construction. They can upgrade that roof. That way you can get your insurance policy rolling and you're covered for hurricane season. If you're looking to make an addition to the house, add a second floor, there are so many things that you'd like to do. Modernize your kitchen. We've got a couple of listeners that have done that over the last year where they gutted their entire kitchen and modernized it. We got a listener now that is remediating their entire home. They had a fire and they've gutted out the entire thing. And one of the things that Eric does at EJD Construction that I don't think everybody does is they take pictures every single day of the progress that has been made on the project they're working on for you. And that's the beauty as an owner. Whether you're in town or away from town, you're always going to be able to keep up with what's going on. All you got to do is go to your app and hit it, and you'll find out what's the work they did today. And that's actually a very cool feature. Check out EJD Construction on Instagram and call them. This is the owner's personal cell number. Call Eric at 305-433-4843 in Dade and Broward counties. Tell them that Big O sent you. EJDconstruction.com. Okay? Smythe is an old school tight end. He can catch, he has good hands, and can block. Exactly. Tight end is deep in this draft, luckily for us. Let's hope they can get it. Big O, it's funny. Some of my Republican friends think I'm a far left weirdo. This is because I'm an independent. That's how it goes, bro. I mean, a Republican, if you're not them, then they think you're a Democrat. And the Democrats, if you're not them, then they think you're a Republican. It's kind of the way it is. I get it all the time, man. I slam Biden, they think I'm Republican. And also being, having Cuban background, oh, for sure, that's it. I've got to vote Republican every time, which is not the truth. Because I vote for both. I don't really care about either one. And at this point, brother, I don't even know. I don't even want to vote for anybody. Seriously, there's not a candidate I really want to vote for. And then that makes me feel terrible. That because I can't. There's nobody in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party that I would want to vote for. And the Dems are lost because they've got the old geezer there. So that's all they've got. They've got nothing. And the Republicans are lost in that Trump cesspool. So it's like nothing. There's no candidate that I have any faith in whatsoever. I don't know if you discussed this already, but do you think we trade for Cook in the draft? No, I don't think so at all. I don't believe in that story at all. How do you like that? That's where I'm going with Dalvin Cook. How about that? Let's lay the law down on this, okay? When the hell has Chris Greer paid for a running back? When does he pay millions of dollars for running backs? I must have missed out on that. When does he trade? high picks for running backs. I must have missed out on that. Why is it? It's the off season. They need something to print. Unless they're going to cut him, unless they're going to pick up 70% of his salary, why would Chris Greer make a move? Where does it say that in his track record that exists? This is what I would love to, because you guys keep bringing this up over and over and over and over again, and you have no proof. None. Okay? There's nothing that says that they would make the move for Dalvin Cook at all. There's no history. There's no nothing. You know what it is? The same bullshit that happens all the time with you idiots out here. He has a Miami tie. That's it. It's the same bullshit every time. And they get every one of you hook, line, and sinker for every freaking player that played here in South Florida in high school. Every time. But there is no track record. So why would you continue to entertain something that they don't have the money for it? They don't spend the money for it. They don't have the draft picks for it. You already signed your 4 running backs. You brought back your 2 starters. This is the same stupid shit with Deebo Samuel. So you signed Cedric Wilson, and then Tyreek Hill became available. So you said, we can't pass up this opportunity, even though we have Cedric, even though we're going to have to pay Waddle in 2 more years, but we've got to make the move for Tyreek Hill. Yet still, after that, you had idiots thinking they were going to trade for Deebo Samuel. No, of course they're going to add Deebo Samuel because they paid Tyreek, they paid Cedric, they've got also Waddle on the roster, and they're going to add Deebo Samuel. No, of course. No, yeah. That's it. But yet, they signed their 2 running backs to very affordable deals, the way Chris Greer likes to do it. He brings back Salvon Ahmed, who clearly the head coach liked from his days in San Francisco to everything he did last year every time they called his number. And yet, you continue to roll with this guy here because he has Miami ties. Nothing else. There are no other indicators that the Dolphins are going to do that move. You know they need a tackle. You know they need a tight end. You know they still need a linebacker. They don't really need a running back. But you want to force the issue of the running back to take away from one of your 2nd or 3rd round picks that could help you at tight end or tackle. You want to take the cap space, which could help you for a tight end, a tackle, or a linebacker, or maybe even a safety. Use your head, man. Use common sense. Dalvin Cook is too expensive. And Dalvin Cook would command too much of a high draft pick. They don't have that luxury anymore. They don't have a 1st. They don't have a 2nd. I'm sorry, they only have a 2nd. They only have a 3rd. They don't have a 1st. They don't have a 4th. They don't have a 5th. And they have needs. Running back is not a need. Both of their running backs average 4.5 yards a carry, and they know the offense. Dalvin Cook doesn't know the offense. Are you sure he'll be comfortable in it? I know he's a great player. That's the other thing. Just kind of do the inventory of all of it. It's the same shit as Deebo Samuel. Same stupid shit that Lamar Jackson. Same stupid shit. Lamar Jackson was never in play here in Miami, ever. They never thought of trading for him. They never wanted him. But idiots out there made it sound like that. Why? Because he has a Miami tie. Why did idiots think that Teddy Bridgewater could take the job from Tua? Miami tie. Was it really because of talent? No. Never. Was it because he's a better quarterback? No, never. All of you out there that said that, you just made that shit up in your head because you didn't watch Teddy Bridgewater because he's a Jag. He's been a Jag for years. Great young man, but not special. And he ain't Tua, but it's the local thing. The local thing gets you guys every single time. And you fall for that shit hook, line, and sinker, dude. Every time. Dalvin Cook is not coming to the Miami Dolphins. They made their bet already. It's done. And they did it right in front of you, and you still don't notice it. But then again, Josina Anderson and many others, they kept telling you they were committed to Tua, but you kept reporting that they're looking for somebody else when they never were. Bullshit that happens all the time. The running backs weren't the problem last year. It was a lack of calling for more runs by Mike. They were 31st in run attempts and 7th in yards per attempt. These backs are more than capable. Thank you, True Fin Fan. And King Short, we're not spending big money on it. That's right. That is correct, sir. Build the trenches, run the ball. Boom. I think Janet Jackson had a better chance of joining the Finns than Lamar did. Or Dalvin. Thought I'd ask for a friend because everybody keeps talking about him coming to Miami. Just wanted to clarify. Well, I hope I clarified it for you. I'm sure Sean will put this one together and put it out there, and hopefully people will stop with the stupidity. You know? Big O, do you think the front office will try and bring in a lot of UDFAs, running backs this year? It would be amazing if they found a diamond in the rough in the running back position. You guys don't really watch what's going on. They're not really looking for one guy. They want a committee of guys. Things are built in front of you, in front of your face. They tell you exactly what they want to do, and you just refuse to believe. You know? It's just, wow. Is it really that bad for some of you out there? Do you not see they don't spend on running backs, but you want them to spend on running backs? Do you not see that they don't go for one running back, they go for a committee of running backs? And so you just want them to go find a diamond in the rough because you think they're going to use a bell cow? And then this last guy, he wants them to go unearth more running backs when they're kind of full already. They're not going to kill themselves. If they run into a running back, fine. But dude, it's not like they're not acting like they have no backs. You're acting like they have no backs. They have 2 running backs that averaged over 4.5 yards per carry with not a great offensive line. Do the math. Wow, we're sitting in our front office. Our 2 running backs did 4.5 yards plus per carry. Hey, guys, do we go get a better running back or do we improve our offensive line? Okay. So the quarterback, you don't want him taking hits. improving the offensive line would also be better, right? So imagine if you're able to add an offensive lineman instead in the second or third round, it might make your line better for the running game. Ooh, and what a concept, protecting Tua. But if you add a running back, it helps Tua only when he hands off to the running back. But all the other downs, you didn't improve the offensive line. Folks, the running backs are not the problem. I really don't get this. They tell you what they're doing with Tua. They tell you what they're doing with the running backs, but yet some of you refuse to actually pay attention to what's going on. Okay. Okay. All right. Derrick Henry will get more yards rushing than all four of our running backs combined. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy for that. How many rings is Derrick Henry wearing? Okay. They have, you know what? Derrick Henry has as many championships as all of our running backs. Also. Let's see. What else? What we need to find is a Derrick Henry in the draft, not pay him when they already have their best yards to another team. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, Derrick Henry at approaching 30 now is not really when I want Derrick Henry at this point. Talk about making a move for somebody when they're done. That's not really the right move overall, I would say. Anthony Rendon, by the way, was suspended for 5 games. And I got to say, some of you out there, you got to be careful, folks, okay? Because, I'm looking at this exchange between Rendon and the fan, and let me play for you because the fan was calling Rendon a name, and Rendon then challenged the fan.
Yeah, you called me a bitch, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, motherfucker. Jeez. Calm down. What you say? Yeah, you called me a bitch, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, motherfucker. Jeez. Calm down. What you say?
Don't hear you. I don't hear you.
I'm sorry. Just because you bought a ticket doesn't allow you to, go after somebody like that. And that dude got challenged. I doubt he's going. I'm sure the next time he screams at a player, he'll be 50 yards away to make sure the guy can't touch him. But and obviously not a smart move by Rendon because he's the only one that's going to lose there. And if he does hit him and all that, you can get a lawsuit and all that. He doesn't need that shit. Nobody needs that. But just because you go to the game doesn't allow you. You want to say the guy sucks or you're boo him or whatever, that's fine. But, you're going to call a guy a bitch right there in front of him? Well, things can happen there with Mr. Rendon. 5-game suspension. Crazy stuff. All right. Good day for moi. Just got tickets to Clutch. Anybody get the tickets? They just went on sale at noon. My buddy just got our tickets. So we are ready to go to Clutch, baby. Looking forward to it, man. I don't know about the other bands, but Clutch will be at Revolution Live August 23rd in Fort Lauderdale. Just bought the tickets here at noon. Clutch, Giovanni and the Hired Guns, and Punkadelic. I don't know either of the other two bands, but Clutch I am a monster fan of. And I'm actually shocked that Clutch is going to Revolution Live. I would figure they would go to even a bigger venue than that. But then again, we're in South Florida where, I guess our demographics don't offer us to have the skill set of really knowing what real rock talent is. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, Clutch is in. Tears for Fears has announced a tour of the U.S. Unfortunately, for those of us that like Tears for Fears, you will not get a date here in South Florida. At least the initial part of the tour. It starts in Atlantic City on June 23rd, moves on to New York on the 26th in Madison Square Garden, in Toronto on the 29th of June, in Saratoga Springs on July 2nd, Virginia Beach July 7th, St. Louis July 13th, Kansas City July 14th, Houston July 16th, Denver at the Ball Arena July 20th. If they go to Red Rocks, that would be actually so cool to see Tears for Fears and Red Rocks with that amphitheater. Seattle July 27th. It ends August 1st in Palm Springs, California, and then August 2nd, Los Angeles, California at the Hollywood Bowl. There's some other dates in between. I just named some of the major cities for those of you that are fans of Tears for Fears. And today in rock history, on April 4th in 2008, Stone Temple Pilots revealed they were reuniting and heading out on a tour, their first in 8 years. In 1964, listen to this. This is super cool. On this date in 1964, the Beatles held the top 5 places on the singles charts. Can't Buy Me Love was number 1. Love Me Do, number 2. Roll Over Beethoven, number 3. I Want to Hold Your Hand, number 4. And Please Please Me was number 5 on the charts. They had a total of 9 songs on the charts in 1964 on this date. But the top 5 all belong to the Beatles. Dude, that's impressive, okay? That is super impressive. Anyway. In 1981, Styx, Paradise Theater, went to number 1. It became their 4th album in a row to go triple platinum, setting a new sales record. All right. Tonight's the night we'll make history. I love it. Honey, you and I. What a great album. In 2003, on this date, former Skid Row singer Sebastian Bach was fired from his touring production of Jesus Christ Superstar. The rocker was replaced by his understudy, vowed to return to rock and roll. In 1970, on this date, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Deja Vu was a number 1 album in the country. In 1987, on this date, U2's Joshua Tree debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200, making it the highest debut of any act since Stevie Wonder in 1980. And in 2003, on this date, Meatloaf announced he would be retiring from music after one more tour. His retirement didn't last. He continued. So there you go. That is what happened today in Musica history. How about that? And then the other note that I thought was actually pretty cool, Dark Side of the Moon, which is just one of the great rock albums of all time from 1973. The Dark Side of the Moon has returned to the UK top 20 charts for the first time in more than a decade, thanks to the series of the 50th anniversary reissue. The official charts company reports the profile of the newly released reissues has helped the original album jump from 120 to 17. Listen to me. That album was currently at 120. It came out in 1973. It holds the record in the U.S. for the longest chart running. I don't know, it was like 400 weeks or something stupid, or 300 and something, or I don't know, whatever. Anyways, it last appeared in the top 20 on October of 2011. The first ever vinyl issue of the Dark Side of the Moon live at Wembley in 74 debuted at number 3. The recording is available both as a standalone release and as part of the expanded 50th anniversary reissue. With more than 50 million copies sold worldwide, Pink Floyd launched the milestone anniversary with a new box set. The 74 live album, a book, a video animation competition, and a planetarium show. Pink Floyd was named the number 5 rock new artist of the year and delivered the number 8 rock news story of the year as part of their 2022 Henny Music Awards. So there you go. Dark Side of the Moon, man. That is definitely one that you're talking about, one of the great albums of all freaking time. Impressive stuff. And Metallica. Props to Metallica. They announced Monday that their charity, the All Within My Hands Foundation, will be donating $150,000 to aid relief efforts for recent severe weather incidents, including the tornadoes in southern United States and the flooding in California. The band wrote on their official website, severe weather continues to wreak havoc across the United States. The latest chapter includes a string of tornadoes that ripped through Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, as well as storms that caused levee breaks that flooded Monterey County in California. All Within My Hands is donating $150,000 across 3 different organizations working to bring relief to their respective communities. It's pretty cool. So they're going to give it to the Monterey County CMMCs. To the direct relief will also get $50,000 for their healthcare partners, and Team Rubicon will also get $50,000. So Metallica doing some good things there at the same time. And one more, I got tickets for Clutch today. If you want to get tickets, Rakim is coming to town. Okay, so if you're thinking of a master plan, okay, def with the record, thinking of a master plan, def with the record, thinking of a master plan, because ain't nothing but lit inside my hand, so I dig him. Anyways, so if you want to go see Rakim, it'll be April 22nd. I've never been to this place, the Miami Beach Band Shell. Where is the Miami Beach Band Shell? Does anybody have a what's that called? A scouting report of that? Because I've never been to the Miami Beach Band Shell. I saw it for the first time. Like normally you'll get stuff and it'll be at Club Space or something like that, or 11 or Live. But I don't know. I've never heard of this place. So you guys can help me out with that. I'd appreciate it. I used to roll up. This is a hole up. Ain't nothing funny. I don't mind seeing Rakim. That would be actually a really cool concert. That's all I'm saying. It'll be kind of fun to go see Rakim do his thing. All right. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Pat in Nashville. Oh, I may have an extra ticket for Crowded House in Durham in May. Front row end seats. Oh, you bastard. So I would have to fly to Durham, North Carolina? How did you know I love Crowded House? She came all the way from America. She had a blind date with destiny. Oh, man. Oh, God. Man. You got me on that one, dude. My wife knows how much I love Crowded House. My crazy, because I don't think, you know what? I'm going to look up. I might take you up on that because I'm going to look up the tour dates because I know they're not coming here because obviously we always get screwed in South Florida a lot of times. And if they're not coming, I might go because that's a front row ticket. So I can fly in, check it out, fly out. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, Pat. That's pretty good, dude. Now, you said May. Do you or do you not? Because remember, I do have to like book a flight. You know what I'm saying, my man? Queens of the Stone Age are pretty good, man. I enjoy those guys. I'm not like this big fan of Queens of the Stone Age, but they do a good job, dude. They're not a bad band. I've seen them in concert. So yeah. Now, I wouldn't travel for Queens of the Stone Age. That I can tell you. I'll travel for Crowded House. I'll travel for sure anywhere in the world to go see The Cure. Like I'm going to go to Atlanta and meet Pat in Nashville there in Atlanta. Looking forward to it. I always look forward to meeting some of you that I've dealt with on the chat board for a long time. Because I really appreciate you all out there. Those of you that have been locked in, like Pat in Nashville is a freaking monster. He's like King Short, and some of you out there, Brett Dodger's always here. There's some of you out there, True Fin fan, who's obviously truly dedicated. There's some of you out there that are just like really, really big supporters of the platform, and I appreciate it big time going back and forth. So I'm looking forward to hanging with Pat in Nashville a little bit and getting to know him. It's like Dougie Fresh, man. I was always dying to meet Dougie because he's always been so kind to me. And then on top of that, him and Victoria have always been incredibly supportive of our platform, and we always appreciate that. So that that doesn't go unnoticed by Sean and myself. Those of you that are incredibly dedicated to our platform and help us out every single day. Visiting sponsors, hitting that like button, folks. Please hit that like button. We need you to hit that like button. And if you want to make a donation to Cash App or Venmo, that is Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And remember, you can always make a Bitcoin donation too, which we always love our Bitcoin donations. Where is Bitcoin right now, by the way? Stuck at 28, still there at 28. But Ethereum is up to 1,866. It's up 373 right now. Let's see if it continues to climb here. It's been right around that area now. It got a little boost this morning. Jasmy's up over 4%. So I like seeing that. What else is going on in crypto? And we can tell you. And if you have any questions, send them in, folks. Send them in. I will answer them right now. Let's see where we at here. Hey, Doge is up 25%. Is it approaching 10 cents since Elon put the Doge symbol on Twitter? God. Shiba's up 5%. Uniswap's up 3%. Lido Dow is up nearly 6%. There's some stuff doing well. Some. Not bad. The Dow is down bad. It's down 200 points. The S&P is down 21 points. And the NASDAQ is barely up a 0.25%. So right now the stock market is not doing well. Big O doesn't like hanging out with me. He's scared of the contact high and the munchies. You know he's full of shit, by the way. I've hung out with NorCal, okay, many times. So he's full of crap. He knows I love him like a brother. Crowded house in Durham appears to be sold out. Well, apparently Pat in Asheville's got an extra ticket for me. Are there any South Florida dates? Did you check that for me at least there, Mark? Are there any South Florida dates for Crowded House? Let me see if I can look it up myself. Crowded House for dates. Let's see what we got here. Probably not. My guess will be that I will not have any tour dates here for Crowded House. Let's see. Shows. I'm on its website. Yep, Durham, North Carolina, Wednesday, May 17th. Wow, that's next month. I would have to get Pat, you got to tell me right away, bro, because I have to get a plane ticket right away for that. Yeah, no, of course, there's no South Florida date. Yeah. You know what, Pat? If you have the ticket, I'm going to take you up on it. I effing love Crowded House. And by the way, what day of the week is it? It's a Wednesday. Okay. All right. I can fly out Tuesday night, wake up, do the show Wednesday from the hotel, go to the concert, and then fly back on Thursday morning. And by the way, I'm on Thursday afternoon. I probably can just do the show on Thursday afternoon. Yeah, I'm that crazy sumbitch. I can do that. Yeah, I can pull that off. Yeah, so you tell me, Pat. Yeah, no, I just saw it. No Florida shows. So you got to tell me if you have the ticket or not, because I will go. I will go. I will go see Crowded House. Because I don't know when I'm going to see Finn ever again. I've never seen Crowded House, and I love Crowded House. By the way, what is the set list? That's the other thing. By the way, folks, if you ever are going to concerts, I want you to remember this. It's called setlist.fm. Okay? And setlist.fm, you put in your whatever band you're going to go see, and then you'll see the like the last concert for them was on November 27th. And they do a 22 song set. Distant Sun. Ooh, World Where You Live. I love that. See, To the Island, Fall at Your Feet, Pineapple Head, Nails in My Feet. I like Show Me the Way, Playing with Fire, Message to My Girl. Wow, they do split ends. I love he's doing split ends. Let's see. 4 Seasons, One Day, Sister Manley. Whatever You Want. Ooh, Mean to Me. I love it. That's my favorite song. So they do Mean to Me, Don't Dream It's Over, Something So Strong, Whether With You, and Better Be Home Soon. Good. They do it. Okay. So they do a lot of the songs from that first album, which is their first album was a freaking masterpiece. Okay. All right. As long as you do Mean to Me, that's my favorite Crowded House song. I love Mean to Me. All right, good. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go to that, Pat. I will. I'll fly solo over there quickly and get that done. So, Play Action 7 says, I meet you before Big O at the Hard Rock Casino. Still have the picture we took. Well, thank you, my brother. Thank you for taking the time to say hi. Appreciate that. NorCal says, can't wait for NFL schedule to know the LA Chargers versus Finns game. NorCal, are you going to Zach Thomas? Are you going to go over to the Hall of Fame? You're going to meet us there? How many of you are going to go over to the Hall of Fame? And going to enjoy that weekend with us, or that week, actually, because there's all kinds of things to do. You know, all kinds of Hall of Fame ceremonial type of crap going on. Because I'm definitely going to that. I mean, I have to like drag Sean Stanley to it. I got to drag him to Zach Thomas's Hall of Fame induction. I had to like convince him to go, twist his arm, you know, that kind of stuff. Pat Asheville says, you've never seen them, Mo. The ticket is yours if you want it. How can I not give someone I know later this week? Though, oh my, they are great live. Okay. I've seen YouTube videos of Finn and the boys live. And Finn still sounds great. That's the thing. And I wish he would do one step ahead. If they're going to do split ends, I hope he does that. That would be actually cool. The Finn brothers were very talented. They're kind of like under the radar guys. Have a beer in my name. Oh, I will, Chad. I'll have a beer in your name, my brother. If it wasn't for my fear of heights, I'd fly over there. Oh, where, to Durham? Oh, you mean for Ken. You're talking about Ken. Oh, well, drive, brother. Where do you live, True Finn fan? Drive. It's summertime. You're not dealing with the winter or anything like that. So drive, dude. It's not a big deal. Do that instead. Don't fly. Take a couple of extra days off so you can use the time to drive there and back. And that's it. That's all, man. Make it a week and use a day or two of, I don't know where you live, how far, but it can't take you more than 2 days, you know, because it is in Ohio. You're right in the middle. So even if you're in the West Coast or East Coast, it's really not the end of the world. You should be able to get there in a couple of days, you know. Hell, I got to San Francisco in 2 days. So you should be able to get to Ohio from wherever we're at, actually. I haven't committed to Ken. It's wifey and my 21st anniversary the same weekend. Zach Thomas and I spoke about it, and he said, I have no shot at making it. LOL. Chili Peppers in concert, closest to Florida so far, Gulf Shores, Alabama, in May. Chili Peppers is good. Well, they were here a year ago or something like that. Chili Peppers were here. So, yeah, they were recently here for a concert. All right, folks, I am out of here. Did a lot more than I expected. I didn't even know I could make it at 1 o'clock today. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, for keeping it locked here on the program. We will see you tomorrow afternoon. We're on at 4 o'clock. We are live at the Youth Fair, 4 to 7 p.m. If there's any big breaking news, we'll talk about it in the morning, and I'll do something really quick. But if not, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, live at the Miami-Dade County Youth Fair. So come on out and join us. See you tomorrow.